Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You're joining us live in glorious Helsinki, Finland. And what a day it is. We are here with the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament 2016. It has been an absolute cracker of a day so far. We saw 200 hopefuls descending here on the studio, each one hoping to prove themselves as the most powerful in the Clash Royale universe. And after 90 minutes of them duking it out, we froze things and chose 8 finalists who will come and play on this stage. Let's look at how we got here.
Hey guys, and welcome to Helsinki, Finland here for the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament for 2016. We have 200 players here who have got about an hour and a half to earn as many trophies as possible. From there, the top 8 will compete for $15,000.
I'm a YouTuber, so I play this game full-time as for a living. So here to just have fun and face all these other people when normally, since we're so high up, they can't play us, but this is a fun way for all of us to get together and just be able to face each other.
Well, it's amazing. I love the venue. Like the food is great. Like the venue is nice, and the stage is great. Everything is great.
The reason this game is so interesting to me, and I think a lot of people, is because there's a lot of different play styles, and there's also reaction time is very important in the game. And I think those kinds of games that really show people's skills is what makes a popular game, because you want to be a skillful player.
I'm trying to be a champion tonight. Yeah, like good luck to me.
All right, that's done it. Our 200 competitors have concluded their open bracket, and now we're moving into our top 8. They're going to be competing for €15,000 total.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, 200 became 8. What do these 8 actually have to do? Well, they're going to face off in 4 quarterfinals. We're going to take the victors of those, and they're going to face off in 2 semifinals. And then right here on this fabulous stage, we will see the finals go down as we crown our Clash Royale champion. Yes, indeed, it's going to be epic. But while fame, glory, bragging rights, they're all important, there's also €15,000 on the line, and the lion's share of that going to the first place victor. Not bad for a Saturday afternoon of playing Clash Royale. So, we know what's ahead. Now it's time to get ready for the quarterfinals. The stage is set. Yes, yes indeed. Things are about to get a lot hotter right here. So, guys, without further ado, let's please all give a very warm welcome and join me in welcoming to the stage our first finalist, Arix from Spain. Arix, here you stand on this stage. 200 came in, you're now in the top 8. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling lucky actually. I was not even expected to be here, Well, after that, I was lucky and I'm here. I don't know.
Well, we're very, very, very happy to have you. And you also came in as ranked first. Is that something you saw coming? How confident were you coming in?
Actually, I think what I did before is just over, so it's starting again. So I hope I will be lucky again.
I hope you will, and luck will be on your side. Stay right here. We do, of course, need an opponent, and we have a worthy one. When we invite to the stage, please join me in welcoming, hailing from Finland, from Turku, it's Nazim! Nazim, in front of these people, you're ready. Tools of the trade in the hand. Are you ready? How's your deck looking?
Yep. I'm looking pretty good.
I hope so. Yeah, look, there's a lot of people in here. It's okay to have a couple of nerves. Do you have any particular strategy that you're going to go for to take out Arix?
Oh, same as always.
Same as always. Confidence is here. Let the guys, their games do the work. Gentlemen, please join me in shaking hands right here. It is all about sportsmanship. A round of applause again for our two very worthy first competitors. They're ready. This fantastic stage is ready. I know you guys are ready. How are you guys doing here? Come on, guys. You're about to see battle done right in front of your very eyes. Are you ready? Which can mean only one thing. It's time for me to hand over to the dynamic duo led by the Kalaris.
Thank you very much, Sean. Welcome here to Helsinki, Finland, where we have the Helsinki Tournament 2016 for Clash Royale. And this, our first game, is going to be a rank number 1 going up against rank 8. Ketchup, you looking forward to this one?
I'm actually really excited because obviously it's 200 people that came in. We have 8 people left good to go. They're clearly quite nervous, which is one of these kind of tournament dynamics of, you know, playing at home, playing, you know, obviously it's an iOS game, so it's sitting in a comfort area.
Yeah.
Going into this tournament environment where you're playing for cash, you're playing for glory, I mean, that's going to completely change the way you play, potentially, and these guys are going to have to hold it together.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how people have actually come into this tournament alone. You've had 200 people enter, and even looking down the list of people that have actually qualified for our top 8, not really the expected names coming into it. A lot of people expected a lot of the good YouTubers to kind of gain those heights. We didn't see too many of them in the top 8, actually only one in particular. And then you've got a player like Arix, who is actually an Alvaro subscriber and has done very well for himself.
That's the amazing story about Arix right now, where this guy just turns up.
Yeah.
You know, he turns up because he just loves the game. You know, it's in the area. He decides to just, on a whim, go to the show, and just like that, he finds himself as the number 1 seed going into this tournament. So, I mean, he's clearly very nervous. Even though he says, you know, I think maybe I got a bit lucky. I mean, he's here. He's number 1 for a reason. You know what I mean?
And we're already getting into game number 1 here of this quarterfinals. It's the first to 3 wins. And we can already see that Arix has opened up with an elixir. And Pekka down towards the bottom here to try and defend this left lane against the Ice Wizard.
So almost immediately goes in for the elixir pump, just kind of give himself some of those resources. I love the idea of going in for the bomb tower, just churn out some of that range damage. But now here we have a Pekka charging into the left lane. That Inferno tower, though, I mean, without an accompaniment, is going to kind of soak up that damage.
I was going to say, you say charging. Pekka's not very fast. Let's give him that, all intended. And also the Ice Wizard placed in front of him, so not behind for the Pekka to actually tank there. So Inferno is going to be able to take down that pretty quickly, but he did use poison during all of that, so it was able to do a little bit of damage to that Inferno tower.
That's a good charge of the Hog Rider right there. I mean, that really is the benefit of these defensive kind of tower-based cards, that they act just basically as a distraction, you know? I mean, if they're not attacking your tower, that's only ever a good thing.
And of course, yeah, as you say, those defensive structures, very useful. Ice Wizard, as well as Goblins, been deployed here against Pekka to start off. And Inferno Tower again. To be honest, some of these weaker minions tanking for the Inferno Tower and the Ice Wizard are actually very, very powerful here to be able to take out that unit, since actually we're seeing Arix not really back up that Pekka with anything on the push.
That was a good use of a bomb tower right there, but I mean, it's going to go straight through. That's going to sort of handle the Ice Wizard, and it's kind of reserving cards, right? One of the things that we can see Nazim's doing is he's saving that Inferno Tower for every single time he sees a larger health unit, you know, just to kind of put it down when needed, just to avoid that kind of big spat damage. And as you can see, they're both doing a really good job. We've got almost 1 minute left on the clock, and these towers are setting pretty at almost full health all round.
Valkyrie placed down towards the back here for Nazim, as he's getting poisoned down once again here which will take him down slowly, but Hog Rider to the right-hand side.
This is where things might get a little bit crazy. Now we've reached that 60-second on the clock situation where the Elixir is going to start to double.
Powerful combo, Hog Rider and Freeze on that right-hand side there. It's going to do a lot of damage towards that tower, and as you can already see, the health here in favor of Nazim so far. You got to remember, again, it's the best first to 3 wins. So,
oh, here comes the 3 Musketeers charging on the left. Lovely use of the Valkyrie just to go in there and get that AoE damage right in a circle. Here comes a big push on the side of Nazim.
It was a big commitment on the 3 Musketeers, because that's 9 Elixir he actually uses for that. And did he get too much damage done on the left-hand side? I don't think so. Nazim actually handled that really, really well.
Here comes the poison just to pressure that right-hand tower even more. Skeleton's going to get cleaned up nice and reliably right there. I mean, the bomb tower's going to be going down. We have 15 seconds left. When this goes in sudden death, that right-hand tower is going to be very vulnerable.
Big commitment on the left-hand side, freezes those 3 Musketeers once again, brings in the Valkyrie to bring them down as well. And that is a good cleanup there for Nazim. Once again, you know, at the start of this game, he's really got the upper hand, and he's putting on good pressure. Valkyrie on the left, Hog Rider on the right. This is great for Nazim.
Poison narrowly missing that. Very unfortunate. Here comes the Hog Rider paired with the Ice Mage. So, I mean, that's going to be some distant damage. Nice use from the Elixir Pump just to tank that tower.
Yeah, very, very important there, so he doesn't lose that one. It's very low. I'm now into overtime. So once anybody loses 1 tower, it is over. Commitment on the left-hand side once again from these 3 Musketeers and Frozen. And the Ice Wizard with the Valkyrie is going to clean him up.
That was a nice combination right there. Valkyrie running in. That's going to tank some damage. Good amount of hit points just like that. One-shotting those skeletons right there.
Hog Rider
running on the side. No accompaniment. There's an Ice Wizard going in, trying to go for the defense.
And the poison. Oh, the Elixir Pump goes down to try and tank some of this damage while this is going on. It's very important that he threw down this Elixir Pump so that it doesn't get to it. But another poison once again. That tower on the right is so low for Arynx.
I mean, the thing is, although the right-hand tower on the side of Arynx is weak, one good push will cleanly take away that 1,200 hit points on the side of Nazim's left tower. So it could still go either way. We have 2 minutes left on the clock.
Pekka launched on the right to tank some of the damage, and once again, bomb tower been thrown down. So you can just kind of alleviate some of the pressure here. You can already see the units being drawn to the middle, so they've got a longer distance to actually go to these towers and tank up some of that damage.
And I love that patience on Nazim. Again, we haven't seen an Inferno tower since the last time we saw a giant Pekka, so it's all about patience and reserving the units. Oh, Musketeers and an Ice Mage on the side. It's a space race.
I think he's going to take it up with the Hog Rider for the freeze. Great chance there. Nazim takes game number 1.
We already have some of our poppers going off. I mean, this is game 1 of the set. I mean, we haven't even concluded the set yet. And these guys are getting excited. What a way to kickstart this top 8 team.
The crowd goes wild. What a way to start indeed. And Nazim coming in as rank number 8. You can see the emotion coursing through him there at that moment.
He's going to have to get this together. I mean, that was still game 1. Yeah. This is a 1st to 3 setting all round.
That was brilliant.
I mean, it was like, you can tell the 3 Musketeers putting all of the Elixir, committing to that play on the left-hand side, but just like that, Hog Rider running in, surprise attack.
Now, one thing to note is that for Arynx, 3 Musketeers throughout this tournament has been his most favorite card. Like, he has been using that clearly to great effect to actually gain himself rank number 1, but in that game just there, didn't have as much effect. We saw Nazim controlling it very, very well, able to thwart it with Valkyries, good placement of the Valkyries as soon as he comes onto their side of the river, which shut it down pretty handily.
And also those freezes. And it's reserving cards. I mean, it was just almost immediately quite a lot of players in these upper-end matchmakings where they go for quite a preemptive Inferno Tower, and sometimes people go, was that a good idea, showing that he has it, or, you know, where does he use it maybe too early? Every single time there, we saw the tanky single damage unit straight in with the Inferno Tower.
Now into game 2, one important thing to note is that the winner sticks on with their current deck. The loser from that previous game can switch up deck if they want. They have 3 decks coming into this first to 3 wins. Let's get into the second game.
The thing about this setting, which is good, is that we might not necessarily tell if he switched anything in the deck until he plays the card he switched with.
Well, we can already see a bit of a switch up here.
Giant skeleton. All about that giant skeleton. Even if the skeleton goes down, that's going to clean up that tower. But right now, I mean, this is a very expensive play right now.
Hog Rider on the left. The Ice Wizard slowing down the Valkyrie as well as the Hog Rider, but the bomb tower's been thrown down just to be able to tank that up a little bit.
It's a lot of defensive play. I mean, the bomb tower seems to be... We actually spoke to some of these players and they said that the bomb tower was a very popular unit among a lot of these guys.
I mean, and look at what we're already seeing here from Arynx. He's got 2 Elixir pumps down already, meaning that he's committing to the later stages of the game. The longer this goes on, the bit more of an advantage he will have in terms of that Elixir efficiency.
Like they're going in for those 3 Musketeers, putting them straight at the back of the base to give himself the highest chance possible to rebuild that Elixir, but nice use of the poison. That's going to almost clear up 2 of those units, doing nice damage all around, but also catching that Elixir pump early on.
Yeah, the 3 Musketeers did a lot there for the defense, and also you can see how he positioned them behind the middle tower, which means that they do split up naturally, allowing for some potential pushback on the right-hand side, whilst he's cleaning up the left as well.
And he goes in for the Valkyrie. That just says to take out those sort of troops on the ground, going in by himself. I mean, he's not going to get much tower damage here, but I mean, just clearing out those units just like that. Even if the Valkyrie goes down, he's taking out those skeletons, so not a bad trade.
But it's such a good move for Arinx, really. Like the 1 elixir for the skeletons to reroute the Valkyrie so that you're not taking tower damage. It's really nice, efficient use of the minions here.
I think that's one of the benefits of the cheap units, not necessarily to do damage, but to just get rid of units, protect your tower. 60 seconds left on the clock. Here comes the point where the Elixir is going to double once again.
Minion Horde, good efficiency out of Arinx there to throw down the arrows onto it very, very quickly. Pig brings that down. Once again, the small skeletons to kind of delay any push. The Hog Rider didn't even get any damage done to that bomb tower.
Speaking of push, here comes a big push. We have Musketeers on the left-hand side. Good tactical freeze there. That was a very crucial freeze in with Valkyrie to triple that damage as well.
Nazim is on top of it. Freezes as well as Valkyries for defense. And then we also saw him in the previous game using the freeze as well as the Hog Rider for offensive purposes as well. So far, his freeze game has been on point.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing about these spells, using them defensively when you need them. I mean, it's giving these guys so many good results already. And just like that, saving the Inferno Tower for when, once again, we see things like the Giant Skeleton run in, bam, straight in with the Inferno Tower, just to protect the tower. And just like that, 10 seconds left, barely any damage done to his towers.
Exactly, and for Arinx, when is this Elixir collection going to pay off here? He's going to be pressured on the right-hand side, cleaned up with arrows, Hog Rider down again, bomb tower straight on in with the distraction of the skeletons there.
Now here's the crucial point. I mean, this is 100% anybody's game at this point. We have 2 minutes 50 left on the clock. Towers both sitting on a lot of health, but I think we might see one kind of giant push. These high damage units, which we saw do so much damage last time. Are we going to see that again?
And that's a big commitment once again on the right-hand side for the 3 Musketeers. The freeze lockdown, but he doesn't have Valkyrie up just yet, so he's going to have to throw a Minion Horde on towards those to clean them fully up, and that gets cleaned up. Now the Giant Skeleton over to the right-hand side with that bomb.
But the Minion Horde did just go down, so he waited for the Minions to go down. That's when he went in for the Giant Skeleton. So the question is, what situation are you finding right now? Hog Rider running in. Again, there's the patience in saving those skeletons to distract the Hog Rider.
Perfect patience, you're right. And not too much. He's going to calm down for a moment. Both players assessing their situations.
I like how these guys are staying quite composed. We haven't really seen any crucial mistakes so far. It's just patience, waiting for each other to make a play. But at one point, these guys are going to have to try and get something going. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to go into a draw situation.
Got to be very, very careful here in this situation, because again, 1 tower lost in overtime means that the game is over. Minion Horde coming through the middle, but the Ice Wizard, as well as arrows, is going to clean that up.
And just like that, both players using their poison just to try and take out those tower units.
Slowly bring them down. I mean, they don't really have much spell damage here directly to do to towers, so they are slowly breaking each other down after not being able to break the river properly with these Hog Rider attempts or even the freezes.
Speaking of freeze, are we going to see a freeze right now? Has he got in his hand, and has he been saving it? That is the question.
That's a big push. Actually, that's got 3 Musketeers behind it as well. This could be a good opportunity
and there's the
for
freeze, saving it once again for those 3 Musketeer push.
Yeah, really, really good stuff to be able to save that. So important. Arrow's going to clean it up. Still only the Ice Wizard available.
And right again, and here comes the Hog Rider with the accompaniment Goblin. The question is, how is this going to turn out?
Not too much damage done overall, just great reactions overall. Still, again with the poison. We've got 1 minute left on the clock here, and this might go down to full poisons. This is
where the bulk of the tower damage is coming from, right?
Yes.
I mean, just constantly putting down the poison.
Nothing is getting to it. Between the freezes from Nazim and the bomb towers coming out from Arinx, and Minion Horde going to get shot down, but Valkyrie on the right-hand side, not even really going to get too much either. Actually, how much does he have available to him against this Hog Rider? I don't think he has the tower. It's going to get through.
Is he going to get 1 extra hit? There's the freeze! Amazing freeze! What a play right there! Nazim going in, saving the freeze, protecting that Hog Rider by its final piece of health.
As we said, every single time, he is so good about saving his freezes for exactly the right moment. Not only using them defensively, but using them aggressively here with the Freeze Hog Rider as well. It's a very, very strong combo that Arinx now has to truly respect, because he is 1 game away from being eliminated.
I think there's one word for that situation: clutch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, just that magical moment, using the freeze at that. I mean, like one more chunk of health, that Hog Rider would have gone down, and he was seconds away from biting the dust and potentially going it back into another tie situation. But that fantastic freeze right at the end, amazing play. But I mean, again, this is a 1st-to-3 situation. He's 2-0 up. I think he's obviously waiting around. We might see another bit of a deck change. These guys, just to remind you guys, everyone starts off and has always used the same cards that are a set level.
Yes.
You know, for this even playing field. So it's a matter of putting a deck together. But I think it might be a maximum of 3 decks.
3 decks going into this, correct?
Going into this top 8 setting. So I mean, and going straight back in. So he might not have made much of a crucial change. We didn't really see a huge change before there, but I think maybe it was the giant skeleton. I can't remember actually. I actually saw a giant skeleton in game 1.
Let's see if he's going to actually do something here in game number 3 in this quarterfinal, because Nazim is 1 match away from advancing on into the semifinals and guaranteeing himself to be in the money already. So far, decks looking pretty similar from Arinx. We'll see if anything further develops.
But the question is, being in this situation, what does it do to your gaming posture? I mean, you know, you're 1 game away from being in the money. And on the contrary to that, you could also potentially be 1 game away from losing it 3-0. So, you know, what do you do in this situation?
He's got to be careful. Nazim's been really, really on top of it. We're going to see Elixir Collector being thrown down once again. So Arinx is going to be investing towards the later stages of this game. Icewiz is going to slow these units down for a little bit, but he doesn't have much of a reaction here. This Hog Rider is getting
nice
some
solo
good damage.
job right here. Almost half of that.
Oh!
And a freeze once again. We see the tried and tested combo. Just like that. That tower almost went down immediately.
That's really worrying now. Very worrying, because Arinx is going to have to focus a lot of his attention on this left-hand side. And if we see him later on having 3 Musketeers and commit somewhere else, he might have to completely ignore that option unless he sees a massive, massive opener in the Nazim defense.
Now, this is what we didn't see in game 2, the Pekka push. Now, I mean, we know that he has a freeze. We know he saves it for the clutch situation. I mean, we could very well just see a freeze here just to prevent the Pekka and also to give him some free damage if he has it in hand.
He needs damage to follow up the Pekka, but I'm not sure if he really has much elixir to really do that. So that's going to fall. And not really have much of an opportunity to get too much done there so far.
It's a stalemate right now, but it is a scary stalemate. I mean, he's got 2 elixir pumps down, so that is going to help him potentially get some kind of push, but once again, we see people over-push potentially. Here comes a Hog Rider once again with the Goblins behind, using that bomb tower to get it, and again, freezing it! We actually see this quite a lot, where it's just the high damage mobile units and a freeze to literally just prevent anything from hurting it. So I mean, the question is, what is Arinx going to do to counter that freeze?
Icewiz with his choice in hand, he has to slow it down. Okay, Pekka's out, but the Icewiz is going to go in front of it. That means that the placement's not exactly ideal for him here. He would rather that Pekka be tanking things. As you can see, the Icewiz already firing on towards that, and even Minion Horde can be used. 3 Musketeers, though, thrown down on the right-hand side.
That was a very important arrow right there as well, just to take that Minion Horde out of the equation when that tower was as weak as it was. There was nothing there to defend it.
And we have double 2 times elixir at the moment, so that's why you can get away with 3 Musketeers a little easier towards that moment. But we're going to go into overtime by looks of things, unless there is an answer to this Hog Rider. We'll throw down an elixir collector in front of it, though.
Nice use of the skeletons there. I mean, here comes the surrounding damage. That's one of the benefits from that situation. But I mean, right now, every single time he seems to get a poison, it just ticks away so reliably. I mean, there's 470 hit points.
Oh, freezed onto them. Minion Horde's going to clean that up as well. So very, very important. Arrows will fend that off, but that's a lot of damage that he has.
Wait, there's a mage who's uncontested. He's going to do some chipping as well. Here comes in with the poison. I mean, this tower may not necessarily go down. How much damage is going to get done?
The wall play comes out from Arinx, and Nazim, with the thumbs up, knows that he's probably got this. It's so low. He could finish that off with any poison. All he has to do is stall out and throw another poison on that tower, and he's got it.
I mean, at this point, I mean, almost ready to call it GG's. Once again, saving the Inferno Tower for damaging that Pekka and taking him out of the equation. Here comes the units just to defend. I think he's just going to spend units some way.
He's all in on those Musketeers. They have to do something. They get frozen, though. Minion Horde's going to clean them up as well. And a poison must be cycling around there.
Just like that. A 3-0 victory for Nazim over Arinx.
Very well played here. You can see the emotion on his face as well as he moves on to the semi-finals. And yeah, what play. Like, such good control over the game. You could see that he had an answer for almost everything Arinx was throwing at him. It was so well played.
Here comes his friends up there, giving him some well-deserved congratulations. It's pretty much bottom seed versus top seed, but a 3-0 victory right there. And that's the amazing thing about when these guys were playing for these qualifying places, it's basically just a matter of, you know, it's that kind of one-game situation. You win, you move on. You win, you move on. Here comes a situation where adaptation comes into account. I mean, amazing play. And to be honest, Arinx just didn't really seem to have an answer for those free spells.
Oh, indeed. That means now that Nazim is put himself in a at least 4th place scenario, which means he will bag himself 1,000 euros for turning up and doing oh so well so far. And now it looks like Sean here is going to grab our victor, moving on to the semi-finals. So we can probably check in with them to see what he's thinking at this moment.
Nazim, wow. Number 8 entering into this, facing off against the number 1. You were understandably nervous going in.
Yeah.
You've been guaranteed taking home a minimum of 1,000. How are you feeling now?
I feel very good.
Guys, Nazim, guys, what do you think of Nazim? Nazim, I can also tell you that you are our first semi-finalist of the day. What would you like to say about playing here? I can imagine now you've experienced it. You can kind of tell a little bit what it's like.
Well, I'm a lot more scared when I'm playing. You know, I'm shaking all the time and pressing that free spell from wrong place. And
Totally understandable. Whatever you were doing, it worked an absolute treat because you are our first semi-finalist. Of course, commiserations to Arix, who would play so well. Guys, one more time, a round of applause. Guys, you can go back and you can, go, of course, go and have a beer, relax, chill out. And of course, you start looking at the decks, check out what the next game is. There's more action for later. One more time, your first semi-finalist, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as promised throughout, we said the action would be fast and furious, and you guys are already fantastic. I can see the spoils of your pleasure all at my feet right now. We are going to get underway with our next quarterfinal. So, without further ado, I would say, are you guys ready for the next quarterfinal? Come on, guys. Are you ready for the next quarterfinal? What about when I tell you that one of our next contenders, we'll do it right now. Are you ready? From Helsinki, it's Steroidi 69. Steroidi, how are you feeling, sir, stepping up onto this stage?
Well, I'm pretty excited and nervous as well.
Now, nerves are understandable, and we saw it worked off very well for our previous matchup. Playing with 200 kids here, everybody having a good time, enjoying the game. What does it mean to be in the top 8?
Well, I don't know. Well, it's super cool, and I expected I would be top 8.
Expected top 8. I love that already. Nothing wrong with that. Stay right here. We do, of course, need an opponent. So, join me in welcoming, all the way from Boston, it's Clash with Ash. Ash, sir, here you stand. 200 entered, you're in the top 8. How does that feel?
It feels great. I think I need about 2 or 3 more beers, Sean.
2 or 3 more beers. Does anybody else need a beer? You're in absolute perfect company. What do you have planned? What can you tell us about your deck without going into too much detail?
Well, as long as I'm not going against a cheesy mortar player, I think I'll be good, Sean.
Definitely a popular comment there. Did you watch the previous matchup?
I did. That was intense, and I'm all Team Red all the way, so I'm pretty excited. Hopefully we'll continue the winning streak.
Any more Team Red out there? What about Team Blue? This crowd is torn, which can mean only one thing. Gentlemen, please, it is about the fun. Shake hands. Round of applause for our next quarterfinalists. Well, stage is ready, some new decoration, players are ready. It's time to hand off to the men who always can, and they're led by Kalaris.
Thank you very much once again. Doesn't want any of that cheesy mortar player. That's not exactly the best one there.
Mortar player, did you say?
No. All right.
Play
okay.
to win, my friend. There's money on the line.
You're an Expo guy, aren't you?
All the way.
Yeah, I figured. All right, well, we've got Steroidi going up against Clash with Ash. Clash with Ash, a lot of you guys out there know this guy.
A very consistent player. I mean, let's not forget there was a recent YouTuber tournament, I believe in like January sort of time. This guy came second place, you know. That's a consistent player right here and going straight into top 8 as well. Good accomplishment already.
For sure. I think one thing about this setup and the format overall, though, is how fantastic it is to see how close everybody was in this 200-man setup. Like, there was everyone started at 2,000 trophies through the Open, where everybody was competing, starting at that 2,000 trophies. And I think the top was like 2,735 inside, or 2,375 even, I should say. And then below that, like 9th and 10th were 1 and 2 trophies away from qualifying. That's how close it was. So these two obviously making it into the top 8. We've got Steroidy, who on live only has like 2,905 trophies in comparison to someone like Clash with Ash, who's got about 400 more or so than him on live.
Now, I think if one thing is apparent here is that I think because of this even setting, the in-game current trophies don't really seem to actually sort of mean a whole lot in this setting where everyone here... yeah, I mean, quite so much where some of these guys that, like I said, we had Arix, who was the #1 seed, who just kind of turned up, you know, and just beat everyone to get into the top seed. But on that exact note, we then had the bottom seed in Azim who came in and won 3-0. So, I mean, I think unpredictability is what we're going to see throughout this entire top 8. Absolutely.
Right. I think a lot of people, again, though, will be rooting for Clash with Ash. It says favorite card here, Hog Rider. But, I mean, to be fair, Hog Rider's pretty good. I'm not too bothered about that. Hog Rider's pretty good. It's a good card.
Hog Rider and a freeze combo? I mean, we already saw that put to amazing use in Game 1. But in this setting, I mean, that's the thing about all these guys, and that everyone is so familiar with the games. You know, these guys are so familiar with the game. They're getting their decks up right now. These guys are trying to get good to go. But what I'm excited for is, when they have favorite cards here, there's always, I mean, these 8 players in themselves all have a different favorite card. So does that mean that we're going to potentially see some different decks, some different playstyles, or, you know, is there this one kind of tried and tested method that everyone's going to try and rinse in the top 8?
I mean, you know, there was some kind of educated banter from Clash with Ash on the other side, because Mortar, of course, being the favorite card of Steroidy, so we might see that as we get into our next quarterfinal here. Already, Skeleton's coming out with that Hog Rider, and Steroidy's going to react in turn with the Inferno Tower, as well as the Skeletons too, bringing that down fast.
And I like the immediate reactions ready with the Inferno Tower. I mean, from the get-go, these guys are good to go. You know, they're not going to get caught off guard. They know what they want to do. They know what they want to do, and they're going to stick to that plan.
Clash with Ash, psychological warfare already. As he will send that Minion Horde towards the middle. Nothing to clean that up just yet, so that got the Inferno Tower pretty quickly. Ice Wizard going to be utilized on this left-hand side. An Elixir Collector already been thrown down by Steroidy. So once again, looking forward to the late game. And there's the Princess, the legendary card that we're seeing coming out from Clash with Ash.
This is definitely the first, I believe, the first Princess we've seen in this top 8 so far.
Yes.
So I mean, all made already this interesting dynamic where you've got Goblins that are running in the front, trying to pressure that tower, and then you've just got the back barrage there, taking out the damage with the Princess in the back.
Now, an interesting thing to note about the Princess is that it does outrange most things. Apparently not the Tesla, though. Tesla will bring it down. There's the Mortar.
Here comes the Mortar.
Nobody wants the Mortar. Listen to the crowd.
Going absolutely wild. The Minion's going in. Nice Ledric there to shut it down. And that's going to be a little bit of a trade-off there. The Cloud's still going.
Oh, he pushes it down, though. Clash with Ash. Feeling it here for the crowd. That Wizard getting a little bit of damage done, but not too much. And here comes the Princess once again. It will outrange those towers, but once again, the Tesla is a really, really good answer for it. Great reactions by Steroidy.
What thing I really like about the thing, I can't, it's a constant amount, hard to deal with. But I mean, in this situation, I love the fact that you've got this Tesla tower that's going in to top the Princess. Obviously, it only attacks when there is an enemy in its vicinity.
Get it. There's the Minion Horde to try and protect the Mortar. He protects it, and there's the Lightning to try and bring it down.
Here we go, here comes that tower poke. Is the Mortar going to get at least one more shot? The question is, how long does it take? And that's going to be at least one more hit right there.
Yeah.
Good tower damage on the side of Steroidy.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was the zap over it. It's always a little bit difficult to tell here from this distance, but there you go. One Elixir Skeletons again with more Elixir collectors.
Let's say 2 times Elixir and the Elixir pumps. That means a lot of Mortars, especially when they're in play, good to go.
And look, he sets up the Tesla, ready for the Princess, and probably we will see Mortar later on coming down. He's got a lot of defensive structures here, which are allowing him to keep his buildings alive. So basically, he's trying to just defend it out, waiting for the Mortar to come along to be the big damage dealer.
Oh, here comes the Hog Rider with the accompaniment from the Princess. This could be a lot of damage if he doesn't do anything to stop it.
Oh my god, this is a huge push. He tries to throw down the Elixir Collector to tank up some of this damage here, but he's really pushing very, very hard onto this location.
It's looking good. I mean, that Frost Mage is going to take some of the damage.
Princess!
Double Princess strike. That tower's going to hurt. Big party on the left-hand side with double Minion waves going in.
Yeah, I couldn't see if the Princess has survived that, but it looks like the Minion Horde brought them down. But the Minion Horde, as well as Hog Rider and Skeletons coming out here to try and push this down. He's done quite a bit of damage considering the defensive nature of Steroidy's build.
This is definitely going to go into sudden death, and again, at this point, it's going to be one tower to do it. So, I mean, it's an interesting way, playing for the clock. I mean, evidently, Steroidy has been playing with, obviously, the Mortar in deck, where he's been very defensive. And the second it reaches extra time, play for the one tower.
And we're into that overtime again, so it is just one tower in it, as this Tesla will be outranged for the moment by the Princess. And likewise, will this Minion Horde even get on towards the Princess? Yes, they do, so they will clean her up.
And there's that healthy cannon. But once again, Princess coming into the background. Here comes that. I mean, we are in a point now where it's double Elixir, so the Princess is going to be a lot more viable.
Hog Rider jumping over the river there on towards some of these defensive structures, and the Princess doing a lot of work from the back here. The Ice Wizard at the front tanking well for it. If he has something to place in front of this Princess and keep the value going, that could be very, very strong for Clash with Ash, but he's going to decide to rely on a slower push from the back with the Ice Wizard.
Interesting play. I mean, you got the Goblins running in. That's going to soak up some of that damage. And once again, the Inferno Tower. Here comes the Mortar. He's going to have to do something to stop that.
Big attempt at defending this with the minions going down as well there, that Minion Horde, but the Ice Wizard getting right on top of that, bringing it down.
Here comes a big push. Hog Rider coming in the back. Are we going to see another Hog Rider come back in this situation?
No, we might be able to. It's not too bad damage here, but it's going to be brought down very, very quickly. Double Tesla in the middle is providing great damage, as well as those Minion Horde pushing this back as well.
Absolute
so
defense.
Close.
And a Mortar in the back. This is looking pretty bad. He's going to have to do something once again to stop this. The cannon's one hit away from death.
Goblins are on with the skeletons, so not too bad. Hog Rider might be able to get in there and clean that up as well. The Teslas, they're trying to do a bit enough, but it's just not. They're not in range to get onto the Hog Rider quick enough before it gets onto the Mortar.
Now there's so much defense. There's so many defensive items right here. You can just see that it's a complete stalemate at all times, but the Mortar's just been constantly chipping away at the tower once again.
You know, the Mortar garnering boos here in the crowd. But he has nothing to deal with it. Steroidy, he's cheering. He knows he might have this with the amount of room that this Mortar actually has.
There is the cannon. There is the cannon, which is going to stop some of that. Phew. That was almost a bad situation right there. There was nothing to contend with it, but that cannon placed in a very good situation just to soak up the damage to allow that Princess to clean up. Yeah. Here comes the Minion Horde running straight in with the Skeletons, in with the Frost Mage again, just trying to defend it. Once again, 55 seconds left on the clock. This could still go towards Steroidy if he just gets this push.
Yeah, does he have much to complement that Hog Rider? Doesn't look like it's going to be able to bring that down just yet. There's a few defensive... there's only one skeleton, so this is an opportunity to actually push on through and do some lasting damage here. As that Ice Wizard does not get down those Minion Horde.
And it's all about that constant defensive play. I mean, the cannon, you know, the Mortar's going to... And there's a double cannon right there, so it's not going to go straight for the tower in the 6 seconds. Once again, 30 seconds left on the clock. Something has to get going. I mean, this has been a stalemate the entire match, but I mean, it kind of seems like Steroidy has just been able to quell any kind of attack at all times.
20 seconds left on this overtime, and if it is a draw, that means, well, then they go on and continue on till whoever wins 3 first is the victor. And I believe that they will have to change their decks as well during all of that. But 7 seconds remaining with 2 cannons and all these defensive structures. He's trying to go for it, but Clash with Ash will stall out against the Mortar. Say good job. That is GG, a draw here for our first game.
Now, the interesting thing in this situation is what we saw actually quite a lot of fortifications be used in our previous set.
Yes.
And what was the one answer for that? Free spell. So are we now going to see almost both these guys change, or is Clash with Ash going to kind of acknowledge that these kind of defensive units, I mean, the free spell that can just stop them dead in their tracks, which allows your hyper-aggressive units to run there and then start dealing out the tower damage. I mean, in this kind of situation, what do you think you'd do to swap the decks around?
There's a lot of choices. As I say, I think the freeze option is always something that's very, very powerful.
I'd change. I mean, I think I'd change towards the free spell just to... Every single time it looked like he had something going, it was just straight in for like the Tesla Tower or, I mean, the Mortar, even though it does still soak up damage as well. So, I mean, it was a constant stalemate that it just felt like there needed to just be that one extra element in either fight just to turn the tide. You know, minions alone, the troop units didn't really cut it.
I mean, a lot of people out there probably know that Mortar can be a bit of a pain to deal with, for sure. But of course, it's something that, you know, people have come to terms with, you know, at some of the higher levels. So there's definitely a few ways to actually be able to deal with it, for sure. Make sure to tweet at us at Clash Royale to tell us how you're enjoying these games so far. I really enjoyed our first series so far, into our second one here of our quarterfinals. And Clash with Ash looking poised here to defend against the Mortars. All series long, maybe.
I mean, to be fair, the Mortar only really seemed like a humongous threat right at the very beginning where, I mean, you actually saw it in his face where he realized he didn't actually have the elixir to stop the push. Oh. So a lot of unnecessary damage just kind of went out there. But from that point on, I think he was a lot more aware. But looks like we are going to go straight back in. The question is, what have the switches been?
Have there been any at all? Clash with Ash, we already see an Elixir Collector being added on here in his deck change, and Elixir Collector on the other side. So why on earth not a gentlemanly agreement, which will kind of level out unless we see any kind of spells, like a rocket or something like that, to bring it down a little bit earlier than his opponent, for example.
That's a very early Mortar, though.
The shake of the head from Clash with Ash. He does not want any of that Mortar. And how is he going to respond in turn? We have the Princess already firing from the back. Poison going down as well there to bring that down. It's a good answer to it in this situation.
I like the change. I mean, just being able to dish out that big AoE damage, just to handle more targets at once. It will handle those troops that come out, but at the same time, what we saw a lot there was Steroidy put down sort of those buildings close together.
Yep.
And that's where the poison will kind of handle both of them.
Now, important to note that the princess there, when she outranges towers, unless she gets nudged back, she won't necessarily retarget anything near her. So that's why Minion Horde is actually a very good answer to just a princess alone. You can't really nudge back a target that's on the ground when you're flying around. So that's all good. And once again, the Mortar and Tesla combo.
But again, we just see that constant poking damage. And I like the idea of actually putting the Tesla unit just like this. That's actually quite a lot of poke that's coming out straight into the left tower. And just like that, half health on Clash with Ash's left-hand tower.
It's great defensive capability from Steroidy in the end, and I love it. Every single time the mortar goes down, Clash with Ash just smiles.
He's trying to avoid sort of showing signs right there where this mortar's constantly pumping out damage. Pekka on the right-hand side, interesting play.
Yeah, this is a bit of a deviation up from the first game, and now he's angry. This is an angry Pekka right here. He's going to try and push down this right-hand side.
Mortar again, and he gets one shot before he targets the cannon. The question is he going to target the cannon in this situation? I'm sure he will, because it's close together. Oh, not necessarily. He's going straight past it.
It's already locked on. He threw down that cannon a little bit later.
Very unfortunate.
Good cleanup there with the arrows on towards that Minion Horde behind the Pekka. You need to get damage behind the Pekka to make it really, really viable here. And it will be cleaned up. And actually, those arrows didn't even hit the full extent of that Minion Horde there for a moment. So Clash with Ash is putting on some great pressure here at the moment.
I mean, Clash with Ash, that was quite an interesting little push there, and he's getting a nice amount of damage. The Princess again, getting slowed down, taken out.
The problem is, though, is we see another mortar combo
just like that one.
Oh, no, this could be bad. Pekka's already been committed to on the right-hand side.
Uh-oh. 30 seconds left. I mean, at this situation, should he can afford to be just be defensive?
He needs to bring that down right now. If it does not die...
Is he going to get one more shot? That's going to be that! Here comes one tower on the side of Steroidy. Now he just has to wait the clock out. 15 seconds. Is he going to be able to stop the Pekka? That's the question.
It doesn't matter how you win, it's winning that matters here at the moment. The Mortar bringing it home so far. 6 seconds on the clock. That tower's not going to go down.
Oh no, two Pekkas. If that was just maybe a few seconds earlier, maybe that would have been a great push. Because I mean, 2 Pekkas in one lane is going to be a nightmare to deal with. But at that point, it just didn't even matter. He didn't quite get them fast enough. And in that situation, I mean, that Mortar just with the constant poking and poking and poking, it didn't work out for Ash in that game. Very unfortunate, but I mean, Steroidy's going to take a game. I mean, he has the Mortar. Everyone else has access to the same cards in this situation, and it just worked.
Now we can see Clash with Ash if he wants to actually switch up his decks and see if he can find a response. So far, not been easy. Again, was able to stall it out in that first game admirably. I mean, like, it can be a pain to work against that kind of Mortar play. And the thing is that since the previous metas of this game, almost every defensive structure has really kind of taken a hit and taken a bit of a nerf here or there or whatever. Mortar, still doing well, man. Still doing well.
It's one of those situations where, I mean, clearly you go into this kind of tournament with a base plan. And I mean, both decks, Steroidy has gone straight out for the Mortar. So this guy's going to be familiar with it. These guys are going to waste no time this time around going straight into the next game. And in this situation now, it is going to be one up for Steroidy. I mean, it was the constant pressure. Are we going to see that pressure again? I mean, the reality is Ash needs an answer for that Mortar.
Yeah, definitely. What we're seeing coming out once again, Princess behind all of this. We'll clean up that Minion Horde pretty quickly.
Another early Mortar, very good situation. And there's no units to help us. There's going to be free poke right here.
Yeah, and those are in range of that tower, but it should die to these Goblins, which is okay.
And it's actually not necessarily an early lead, because although he got those Mortar Strikes, Steroidy is actually the one with the weak tower compared to Ash.
Yeah, so overall, I mean, the Hog Rider at the beginning did do quite a bit. We'll see now if Steroidy's just going to be saving up. Don't know what he has in hand at the moment, but...
Looks like both players being quite conservative with their Elixir, and speaking of that, straight in with the Elixir pump. And I mean, they're both going to be planning some kind of play. I mean, that's what happens in this situation, right, where nice Tesla there, just try and take out those units.
It feels like the minions that far forwards are almost just kind of trying to bait out responses from his opponent at the moment.
Maybe get some cards out of the opponent's deck.
Yeah, seeing the Ice Wizard being employed. And Ice Wizard versus Ice Wizard. I'm going to assume this isn't going to go well for Steroidy's Ice Wizard.
He went into it with less health, so he's definitely going to go down. Here we go.
Sorry, buddy. All right, so Princess to follow that up against some skeletons. And actually, Arrow's already coming in, taking out the Princess. And actually, that could be one of the better choices here for Steroidy to actually deal with it. It's trade for trade in terms of Elixir, but he has Elixir collectors behind it. This is a big push, though.
Hog Rider's going to take out that Tesla without much trouble. Going in for some of those units.
Whoa.
Nice. Here comes big damage on the Hog Rider.
Yeah, that was a great stun coming out there. The arrows are going to be able to take out quite a lot of that. And once again, Ice Wizard versus Ice Wizard. But look how much damage Clash with Ash
and
has
he
done.
still gets away. A cheeky little ice spell right there. Just get that extra little piece of damage. He can, if he keeps this pressure on the go, especially once we're 5 seconds away from doubling the elixir speed right now. So I mean, if he keeps this pressure, he could very well get it through. We haven't seen much of a chance at all to go for more in this situation.
Yeah, this is, Tesla's being set up, so Mortar might be close behind it in a moment here by Steroidy. But the problem is that the minions are already on his doorstep, so doesn't really want to commit to that just yet. He's going to clean up and then try go for it later. If he keeps the Tesla alive, which is the perfect play there for a moment, Mortar's going to get added on, and there could be some damage here.
The Mortar is going to focus that cannon initially, but if they can clear it out as quickly as possible, he is going to get that free poke onto the tower, especially with the Tesla tower in front that is going to soak up the initial damage.
And the Princess, will she get enough damage done there later on? Looks like the Ice Wizard will be able to clean that off in the end, though. It will fall. And Minion Horde going to come in as well here for Steroidy.
I'm thinking in this situation, Ash just needs one push, is all it takes. But here comes the Mortar, and the Minion is big damage on Ash's tower. This could go pear-shaped in any second.
Oh, the arrows! The arrows were brilliant to clean up there from Steroidy. He knows he's got a great opportunity here.
Oh,
it's still pressuring. 2 more shots, I think.
2 more hits, and it's going to be GG's.
It's too much. It's too much. Look at
here comes the rocket as well.
He saved the rocket
just for the end right there. Just like that, Steroidy's going to take it. Once again, I had no idea he even had a rocket until that point.
He saved it till the very end, just to chip in right there. The thing is that I don't even think he needed it necessarily right there.
Cheeky,
I love it.
Cheeky man.
He embraces the booze. He embraces it.
Every game needs a heal, right?
Exactly, man.
Even his favorite card is Mortar. Everyone knows what he's gonna do.
Every game needs a bad guy, but Steroidy. 2-0 up. Hey, it's working. He is winning, and he is 1 game away from advancing onto the semi-final.
I think I'm still a little bit blown away by that surprise rocket. He did not need to use that rocket at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Necessarily.
I mean, I guess maybe take no chances, but in that situation, it's just, you know what? I'm gonna win this game, and I'm gonna show everyone right now that doesn't even matter. I'm gonna rocket you just to win for free.
That image there, right, of Steroidy through the confetti dancing away, that's every Mortar player's dream right there.
Someone needs to gift that to save it. Put it on the Reddit or something.
Yeah. That was feeling when winning quarterfinals and tournaments through Mortar at the moment. That was beautiful. But now, he's 1 game away from advancing on. He doesn't need to swap his deck.
It's really unfortunate because, I mean, Clash, Ash was so close in that game, and he had the advantage was his. It was just that one time when he had nothing to handle the Mortar, and it was just the constant pressure. So, I mean, it was looking good for him, but it was just his inability to kind of maintain the constant pressure is what really hurt him in the end. But once again, he's gone in for the archers. Gone in for a switch. Here comes the Barbarian Hut. I mean, now, to be fair, not only is the Barbarian Hut going to confuse and distract, but the constant Barbarians that are pumped out of that hut are also going to act as a distraction as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a commitment early on, obviously it being 7 elixir, but like the longer it goes on, the longer it pays for itself. And the realistic thing is with Steroidy already committing to a Tesla in the middle, as Clash with Ash, you can get away with this Barbarian Hut's cost early on, because you know your opponent has already spent something on static defense.
Absolutely. Once again, we can see a poison going in there, but the Barbarian's just going to be constantly pumped down. Now, we see the same thing from Steroidy, but just on kind of the right-hand side this time.
Yeah. Trying to do a little bit over there. The Mortar really is not getting too much done. The thing is that the Barbarian Hut, likewise, was for a while actually providing a focus fire for the Mortar.
And that's exactly why Ash has gone for the pick. Very smart stuff.
It's cool. It has a lot of utility here. And it will allow constant pressure still down that left-hand side. Almost a full spawner build that we're seeing here from him, with reinforcement from smaller minions. Obviously, it's a very, very light-cost deck that we're seeing here from Clash with Ash. And it could be a secret weapon.
I love the idea of going for this because this is going to be counter for the Mortar. We have only ever seen the Mortar go for a tower 1 time. Every other time it's been targeting a troop.
The only problem with Clash with Ash is you've got to be careful about how all of these troops are clumping up down that left-hand side. Because if the Mortar starts firing at them when they're all clumped up, it's going to get really good value. But at least it's not shooting at your towers, most importantly.
The problem in this situation was the fact that it was constantly just chipping away, and in this situation, because there's so many troop units coming through, he hasn't really had the chance to do that with the Mortar. So if he can get some of those really good patented, I mean, I guess it depends on what he's replaced his his spawners with, you know?
And again, you know, really strategical placement of these buildings. If a mortar does go down and there's no minions to attack, that hut should be first in range of the mortar. So it's once again denying any damage going down from those on those towers.
That's a nice tidy push. That was right. Nice push on the left-hand side right there. I mean, once again, the mortar's not really doing anything to handle out his towers, but Ash is now doing a good job of constantly using his troop units to chip away at that left-hand tower.
I like it. Here comes the rocket. He wants to bring down that barbarian hut. Doesn't get it fully.
Oh, giant in the middle. Here we go.
Oh my god, Royal Giant on the way. This was hidden for a while here as Clash with Ash is really pushing down this tower. The secret card that he kept hold of here for all this time has done big damage down that left-hand side.
That was a really nice play, and even then the poison just adding that tiny little piece of damage, but this is a really good play. I mean, now the mortar's going to start to target his right-hand tower, so he has got to be careful. The second we go into sudden death, I mean, all one tower's going to take in this situation.
Yeah. And the thing is, again, if he sets up a push on the left-hand side and then is able to throw down a Royal Giant in a similar vein, of course it did catch their already a little bit off guard, so now he has that information, now he knows what's going on. Well, else that mortar did quite a bit of damage on the right.
You know, I was just about to say I wondered what his final card was, and then straight in with the Royal Giant. Here comes another mortar, though. This is bad.
He's actually committing fully to the left-hand side, but I don't know if this is going to work out. That mortar's going to do big damage on that right. He needs to kill that tower right now.
This could go either way. I don't know. I think he should have been a bit careful. Of course, he's going to put a mortar on the right-hand side.
Steroidy! Is he going to get this? It's going to go down the rocket!
Another rocket just to take it!
3-0! Steroidy will take it! Oh, the attempt at the commitment on the left-hand side by Clash with Ash.
Can you say victory stolen through his fingertips? I mean, oh my days.
That was...
It was looking so good. It was looking so good. And then he missed the mortar for one push. He ignored the mortar for one push, and it cost him everything.
I wonder what would have happened there. Just like any small minion he had on that right-hand side, maybe doing a little bit of work on it. Of course, technically, it would have been in range of the archers from the tower, but still...
I feel like he didn't stick to the plan right at the very end when it mattered, because it was doing such a good job. The mortar was just constantly distracted over and over and over again. And right at the end, when he decided to go for that, basically it was like a base race, just with the mortar on his side, he decided to commit to that Royal Giant push, and he just left nothing to handle that mortar on the right, and that's it. And he had the rocket as well.
It worked out so well the first time, not necessarily the second time around. I think we can go to the stage now to hear from our winner, Steroidy, moving on to the semi-final.
We can indeed, Kalara. Steroidy, first of all, congratulations. How do you feel right now?
I'm wordless. It is amazing, and I know that you all like mortar. It's amazing.
What did you think when you were playing and the crowd was giving you a little bit of feedback for your choice in cards?
I didn't care much, actually. Well, yeah, I didn't care much. I was just playing my own game, and that's it.
Well, let the haters hate, because you are our second semi-finalist of the day. Guys, first off, a round of applause for your second semi-finalist, Steroidy69. I'll jump over and say hi. Ash, how was that for you?
It hurts. It hurts, Sean, but honestly, it was my job to counter him, and I didn't get the job done, so hats off to him.
Hats off to him. Guys, a round of applause. Played like a champion, Ash. Guys, we've had one red, one blue. What do you think for the next one? Any predictions? Blue? From over there? No? The games are becoming fast and furious. Are you ready for the next contestant? Guys, traveling all the way from Hong Kong, please join me in welcoming to the stage, Derek! Derek, sir, how are you feeling standing on this stage in front of this fantastic crowd?
Hey, I'm Derek Zhongpui-san, and I'm from Hong Kong, and I got jet lag, so if I win, I must be really good. If I lose, then it's because of jet lag. So, yeah.
Well, I like that you've already got that planned out. Now, standing in your way, ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Finland, I'm going to try to say this right, from Kirkkonummi, it is Jason! Jason, you're here. You're in the top 8. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jason, how is your deck looking? Do you think you've got what it takes to beat either a jet-lagged or a just great Derek?
I just came here to play my own game. I haven't banned any counters or anything, so I'm just gonna play my game.
Playing your own game. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for your next quarterfinalists. Now, guys, I will step back this way and let you shake hands. All important. Guys, sit down, get ready, which can mean only one thing. We're just moments away from getting this, our third quarterfinal underway, finding out who's going to the semis. And for that, take it away. I think I can see Kalaris up there.
He keeps saying this, but I'm not really going anywhere, so it's all good. It's all good. Thank you very much, Sean. Once again, another quarterfinal. You may recognize this face, but it's actually not the same person as we have his twin up. Obviously, before we had Mr. PND Ketchup on Twitter, and now we have Mr. PND Mustard on Twitter. How are you doing, buddy?
Kind of 50% the same person, but different altogether. Now, this match is important, because not only do we have Derek here in top 8, all the way from Hong Kong, he has been a consistent top player on the in-game leaderboards for, as far as I've been told, the majority of the game's life.
Yep.
So that's quite a tiger to take down, especially when you're now playing for, we're still in the quarterfinal stages, so one win here of a first to 3 is going to get you €1,000.
Yeah. We had the opportunity to talk to Derek before this tournament actually went down. He was very gracious and introduced himself to us, and he said that he brought a multitude of decks to the table. Not only a few to actually kind of ladder up through or whatever, but potentially ones down the line as well. So he is a very confident chap. A very friendly chap as well. As you can see, either he is great or he is jet-lagged. I completely understand. That's a great esports excuse right there.
I mean, we call that one the option select,
yes.
Where I'm from. Just if I lose, it's because of that. If I win, it's because I'm absolutely amazing.
Exactly. And going into this, we'll see how he's going to be able to play out for HK Esports, one of the highest ranked clans in the entire game. If you check out the clan boards, you will always see them up at the very top. Players from all over the world have flown in here to play this tournament, and we're getting into it. Hog Rider already on the way for Derek to try and do some damage.
He's going to get out at least one hit onto it. He has got a slight life lead right now. These minions, I can't imagine by themselves going to do too much. We see the Ice Wizard deployed to really do a good job of just sort of slowing them down, but the life lead is still very much going to Derek, but I mean, a little bit of life, not really been too much moving forward into the game, but he does manage to deploy himself an elixir pump, going to give himself a little bit of an advantage, hopefully, if he can avoid some pushes for quite a while.
It's so funny, this. It's like casting with the same person. Transitioning from brother to brother, it's fantastic.
So it's like casting with yourself, and you'll see that later on, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point actually. It's like a mirror. All right, well, there's one of those in this game as well. Giant for now, going to push on towards this cannon, so opting for a Giant as one of the push conditions. So we're going to see probably damage being followed up by that Giant, as it is a great tank here for the game.
I mean, that really is how you build yourself a core push. It's a really sort of standard push you see a lot, is high health target supported by the range to really support them and get them in, but then you've got things like the Hog Rider, who just very aggressive pushing power.
Does he even have the AoE? Okay, so the arrow's going to come in there, but that got a lot of damage done. The commitment to the arrows was a little bit late there for Derek, unfortunately, and that was quite a bit of damage done to his right tower.
But let's have a look at Derek's deck right now. He hasn't got a lot of beef, but he has the aggression in the Hog Rider, but a lot of cheap units right here. We've got both kind of Goblins right now. Has the arrow to deal with that sort of tactic away at the moment, but it's very cheap units. So when we go down to this last sort of 20 or so seconds, we get that double elixir, I expect we're going to see Derek's deck just explode.
Good reaction to Hog Rider in the end. The Barbarians should be able to chew through him. And then, once again, they're well positioned now for the Giant to be able to push forward. And Hog Rider comes out as well. So a big push coming out from Jason here to try and break through. But look at the commitment everywhere. This arc being created by Derek to try and greet it.
Now, the thing is,
didn't work, though.
Derek's defense is scattered right now. They were all going for different things, so the Giant did manage to, while taking a lot of damage, did quite cleanly manage to run through and punch the right tower a bunch, getting it down to 400 health. And as we're now approaching overtime, that's going to be really dangerous, because if he can stall out and save this right tower until overtime, all he has to do is finish off 400 health to take game 1.
But again, you've got to think about it here. From Jason, he's been committing with these elixir collectors to the kind of later stages of this game anyway. So every single time he's able to make one of these pushes, it's very, very powerful. That Hog Rider jumps through though, and there's not going to be able too much damage actually going onto it. This is still a big push. He's going to take this tower. That's one tower going for Jason against HK Esports Derek.
30 seconds left on the clock and counting. We see a few Goblins slipping through, but the tower's going to do a nice job dealing with them by themselves. The Archer's out really well placed to maximize the damage there. And again, Goblins are not going to do too much, but we are getting into dangerous overtime territory. And right now, Jason does have an advantage by 600 health, and the tower's still standing.
And still, he tries to get through there. The Hog Rider goes through, but he gets brought down just at the very last second. So no tower falls, and that is 4 seconds left on the clock. That is going to be a win here in game number 1 for Jason.
Now, I really like the way Jason just secured that at the end. He was like, okay, right, I've got the tower. I'm going to put every single unit I have on the offense right now. So if he tries to counter push, my minions and my units are just going to completely soak up all this damage.
One thing he's getting out of those elixir collectors that early on, you could see it was exactly the same push crafted twice with Giant, what else do we have behind it? Goblins, even the Hog Rider to kind of jump in as well. Overall, the unit composition that he brings in each of those pushes is extremely hard to deal with unless you have maybe arrows and some extra oomph to actually bring down the Giant during all of that. So very, very difficult to deal with that composition.
I'm just really liking the variety in decks we're seeing right now. A lot, obviously, beforehand we saw the Mortar deck, so very building heavy, very spell heavy, especially in set 1, which was a crazy set to start things off. Again, a lot of spells, a lot of tactical building placement, but this is straight up units for the most part. We are seeing the odd arrows here and there, but for the most part, it's basically just units and hard pushing that's doing most of the damage in this set so far. So Derek is down a game right now. He did mention to us before, like you said at the start, he has a healthy amount of decks prepared for this top 8. So I predict he's made a switch, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Both players sort of being patient right now before they make their first move.
He's got information about his opponent. You're leaving it to 10 elixir. You're going to spend some of that elixir. Pekka is already the choice here for Derek to move down the right-hand side against the elixir collector up at the top.
Now, this is an immediate change. We see the use of the Pekka as a first card as well. Okay, this is a change in my deck. I have a Pekka now. We can see Jason retaliating with a Giant in the left to maybe try and not force too much of a push in the right by Derek. Just trying to force him away because the Giant, wow, manages to cleanly get through.
Look at this. I mean, he's not committing anything to the left because he knows he's going to have to spend something to deal with the Pekka. But Loon coming in as well here. This could be a lot of danger. And the rage going down. Oh, that's a big commitment there to that tower. Is he going to take it? Yes, he does. The balloon gets through. Big, big damage.
That was incredible. That was seconds. That tower was dust after mere seconds.
At the same time, though, look how much the Giant did on the other side. I mean, it killed the tower as well, so it's 1 for 1. It's a big commitment, throwing down rage on the aggressive, because if you do, then, you know, you could lose things on the defensive, having spent so much into that.
Have you ever heard the phrase, the gentle giant? That's not a gentle giant. Jason's giant is aggressive, but we can see Derek, almost his entire deck, I think his entire deck is completely different. Every single card is different than what we saw last time.
Yeah, it's cool to see here with Witch implemented in as well. Hog Rider on the left-hand side now, whilst the Pekka is being kind of distracted and freeze to deal with the Hog Rider, since he didn't have anything else to pop down.
Wow, and the Hog Rider is just completely dealt with. I think that might be another adjustment, is Derek just using the freeze on the Hog Rider. We saw this used earlier on, but a big push on the right by Jason. Not sure if the Giant's going to go down or if he's going to get some damage off. The Skeletons are deployed, but the Minions are going to keep the Elixir Pump busy as well.
Yeah, that was not too bad, actually. I mean, he cleaned up with the arrows, but he's probably going to end up losing that tower eventually. That's so much damage actually going onto it. The Minion Horde was not down with 10 health.
Wow.
10 health remaining on that tower.
What do you do if you're Jason in the situation? Do you leave that tower alive until overtime, or do you just take it out now to get the positioning advantage to be able to spawn things further up?
Set up defensively, try and deal with this rage, and if you can deal with this rage from here on out, you can arrow it. It doesn't matter, but he's frozen some of that. That balloon is on top of that tower. Not much more. He's actually just going to go straight for the big push, and I don't think he can't save that tower.
Oh, that was expensive for Derek. This is so many units coming in. The big crown tower is taking so much damage, and this might be game 2.
That looks like that is it. And each time, there you go, GG. Jason will take game number 2. Each time the rage comes in, you see it goes trade for trade. When you commit to something like that on the aggressive, you don't have enough elixir to deal with the follow-up push, because in this game you have a defender's advantage.
But it all boils down to elixir management as well. I mean, as soon as you commit hard on one lane, the opponent has a choice to make. Do I use my elixir to counter this push, or do I make something work in the other lane that he might not be ready for because he's just spent all of his elixir?
Yeah. It's a very kind of, I want to say, an all-in and aggressive style that we see when it comes to that rage play. Oftentimes you listen to a lot of people and they say, well, actually rage can be used in a very, very strong defensive stance to go kind of troops for troops, but then because you're attacking 40% faster, moving 40% quicker, you're going to get the better trade, and then you can push onto the other side in terms of elixir management. But
you know, that's by the by. We are going on to game number 3, Mustard.
Now, it's definitely worth pointing out that this could be the potential for yet another upset in this tournament. As we've said before, Derek is a consistent top leaderboard player in the game's actual live client. And Jason, as he said himself, he just turned up because he loves the game, he just wants to play. And here he is, one game away from taking home, you know, debatably one of the best players in the world at Clash Royale. A 3-0, not even 3-1, 3-2, 3-0 right now, maybe.
We've seen that Hog Rider coming out from Jason already. Gets on towards that cannon, which will hold it off quite nicely. Ice Wizard being deployed by Derek as well. And between them on live, there's like 1,000 trophies difference. 4,000 against 3,100 or so.
And especially when you get to higher levels of trophies, that 1,000 makes a bigger difference than it might appear.
Yeah. Here, though, on a level playing field with all cards same level, commons 8, rare 6, epics 3, legendaries 1. Not as easy. This is a big push, though, from Jason once again. That Giant tanking up so much. He crafts the units behind it so well to pump out damage. And look how well they've got through here.
Oh my word, already down to 400 health and lowering 160, 118, 72. Wow!
I'm going to be copying this comp when I go home. Oh my god, Jason with this giant Goblins, Archers and Hog Rider comp. Even the Barbarians were in that one, actually, compared to the Hog Rider.
Now that was incredible, because right now this is like Jason's been using the same deck the entire time, and Derek every single game has tried to change, and it's just not working. Jason's just too much right now.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult to deal with. Hog Rider on the way, Giant thrown down in the middle as well. This is going to be the distraction here for maybe the Hog Rider to do something, because realistically, what do you deal with? Do you deal with the Giant that's going to do some damage, or do you do the Hog Rider here? Likewise, he took so much damage on his towers from that.
It's just the benefit of taking a tower so early. You get the luxury of really being able to play on the back foot if you want to, but then any aggression further that point is going to be so much more dangerous when you know I'm winning right now. Yeah. I am 2 games up and I've taken a tower. I don't have to commit, but you do. You have to do something.
I'm absolutely loving Jason's deck. He hasn't had to switch up, and look at this. I mean, for good reason. Arrows are going to go down. They don't do too much. The Barbarians will kill that Hog Rider. And the Hog Rider on the other side is actually getting a bit more damage done with the giant Goblins, spear Goblins as well as Barbarians.
This is just incredible play from Jason right now. I mean, really splitting off his just constant loads of units. And Derek's trying to get something going. If he can take a tower.
It's an opportunity, but everything's spread out everywhere. The arrows will take down the Minion Horde on the left-hand side, but other than that, look at the damage. It's all very separated up, and there's 20 seconds left on the clock, and I don't think he can push down one of these towers.
But even if Derek does manage to, you know, make a miracle happen and take out one of the towers, his tower's down to 250 health, and there's a Giant and a Hog Rider.
Gonna get it. That Hog Rider is gonna bring home the win. That's the 3-0 from Jason. He advances on to the semi-finals. Brilliant stuff from Jason.
I don't think that was the result anyone was expecting, so huge props to Jason. Obviously, props to Derek. Making top 8 out of 200 players is no easy feat, especially when you are coming over from overseas, you know, from Hong Kong to Finland. That's not exactly a quick trip, but Jason will advance as your 3rd semi-finalist today.
And you know the funny thing is that we've had Finland versus the world in every single one of these series, and in every single one, Finland's come out on top.
I didn't even realize that. Wow, this Finland have come to play.
I think Suomi is, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It's the chant, man. Finland has done so well so far in these semi-finals.
Look what's happened to our poor stage. Our poor stage is covered in confetti.
There's a lot of confetti. They did give confetti cannons as well as our lovely emotes.
Which I think after that one, this one, right? This is my favorite.
For Finland, yeah, I suppose thumbs up for Finland. They're doing pretty well.
You know what I think we're going to see if we see Mr. Steroidy advance to the grand finals?
Oh, right, okay, for mortars, I suppose, yeah.
We'll see. I mean, now they've secured themselves €1,000.
Yes.
But 3,000 is going to be the difference next time, and then 10,000 to play one. Would you play mortar for €10,000? I don't think anyone wouldn't for that money.
Yeah. If you want to win, you want to win. All right, we are done up here. We're going to head off to Sean on the stage once again, who is with our winner, Jason, advancing onto the semi-finals.
Thank you so much, Kalaris. Wow. Jason, you just knocked out arguably one of the favorites of the tournament, Derek. First off, a round of applause for Derek, everybody. Jason, he came in as a favorite. There was a lot of riding on this. A lot of people were saying, okay, this is going to be a cakewalk for him. But you now stand victor. You are in the semi-finals. You're guaranteed taking home €1,000. How do you feel?
Amazing. I didn't expect that.
Now, you did it in quite triumphant and authoritative fashion. I mean, what do you think was working for you?
That's the deck I've been playing almost 2,000 games with, so I think it's that.
2,000 games with that deck, good. You've had some good time to practice. I'm happy about that. Now, there was a lot of talk about the fact that Derek actually has, 1,000 points on you in the ranking. Was it that in your mind coming into this?
Yeah, I knew he had way more trophies than I did, but I've seen a lot of good players, high-level players, lose in tournaments, on level 8 tournaments, against a couple thousand trophies lower than they are, so we are all in the same line here, so.
All in the same. You came here with 200 hopefuls. Here they all are around you. You're now down in the final 4. That's got to feel pretty good. What are you going to do now to prepare for the upcoming semi-final?
I have no idea. I'm just going to hope.
Hope is always a good one. Once again, a round of applause for your semi-finalist. It's Jason. Jason, you can go back and set up. Derek, thank you so much. Once again, round of applause for Derek. There we are. We already know 3. Let's find out who the 4th is. And for that, for the first time, we're going to have an all-Finland quarterfinal. So, please join me in welcoming to the stage, hailing from Kerava, Finland, it's Elfi. Elfi, you watched that. You've seen the matches. You're in the top 8. Steps away, 3 victories away from being in the top 4. How are you feeling?
I'm nervous for sure.
Nerves are good. Nerves are good. Do you have any particular strategy or anything that you prepared?
I guess we'll see what happens.
See what happens. Play it loose, play it fast. I like that. I'll let you get ready. Stay right here because we're going to do a little handshake in a second. Guys, hailing from Tampere, Finland, please join me in welcoming to the stage, Johan. Johan, did you happen to catch the last game?
What? Did I win the last one?
No, did you happen to see the last game?
Yeah, I did. Red won, so we're happy here.
Team Red is happy. Excellent, excellent. Now, you're in the first Finnish quarterfinal of the day, or an all-Finnish quarterfinal. Is that playing a role at all? Are you familiar with each other?
Oh, well, I think I would like to win the guy from Hong Kong, but I'm ready for a Finn.
Derek from Hong Kong is the scalp that everybody wants, but you're ready for a Finn. Gentlemen, I'll ask you to come right here and shake hands. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation for your next quarterfinalists. Come on, guys. I know you can do better than that. This crowd is fantastic. The energy in here is electric, and we are going to get this quarterfinal underway as we find out who is going to be the last of the 4 going into the semis. And for that, I'm going to hand off to the always wonderful Kalaris.
Thank you very much, Sean. Once again, as we go into our last quarterfinal, in fact, here, Finland versus Finland. And so far, the games have been fantastic. Make sure you tweet at us with the @Clash Royale, as well as @Kylaris and @PND Mustard to tell us what you think of these games so far. Because, to be honest, they've actually been fantastic. Really, really good.
I think, like my partner in crime, @PND Ketchup, said earlier on, unpredictability is really the word of the day. We've seen some of the best players and most recognized players from literally the world all come together today, 200 of them. And top 8 is basically boiled down to Finland having to take each other out, taking home the prize pot of 15,000 euros today between them. But only one of them can take home the 10,000 top 8, but only one more player can qualify. And one more player will go home with nothing.
Yeah, we're guaranteed a top 4 all-Finnish lineup at the moment now here in Finland. They made the game, so it's only just pretty good at the game, I guess. That's how I'm going to kind of derive from that. That's all important.
I mean, the game itself has exploded, but that hometown, you're cheering for your boys, you're cheering for your friends, and that really does help you. I mean, a lot of these players, they're all saying they're nervous. The nervous players are winning, so maybe being nervous is good in this game. But regardless, I think if you can really feed off that crowd energy, which there is a lot of today, it can really help you moving forward into the sets, because you've got to keep composed, because if you are moving your fingers to place your units and your buildings down, and you are nervous and you're shaking, and your finger slips and you move even a single unit the wrong direction, that really could make or break whether it was a good idea to do it or not.
Look at this Shakespearean pose of Jonna, Johan even. As we will be getting into this one in just a moment. These are 2 of the most evenly matched players coming into the top 8. They finished 4th and 5th. That's how the seeding works going into it. 1st versus 8th, 2nd versus 7th, etc. But now we are ready to get into our next quarterfinal. Game number 1 here between Finland and Finland. As we already started things off, Hog Rider on the right-hand side with the Barbarians from the hook going the wrong direction. So that's a lot of damage done already.
Wow, I mean, that really is it. If you have a few choices right at the start. Do you play patiently and let your elixir build up so you've got more of a preparation to defend and attack, or do you both attack at the exact same time, or place a unit at the exact same time at the start, like they did this time? You run the risk of maybe a really aggressive unit getting through, and that's where we see the Hog Rider take so much damage off of Juhan's second tower.
Yeah. You can get away with an aggressive Hog Rider sometimes in these situations. If you see something like that Barbarian hook going down, you know it's not really going to have huge impact and is very, very costly. 7 elixir once again. So it's not really an aggressive stance. And the Hog Rider again comes out. Does he have a response? Ice Wizard comes down.
I mean, the Hog Rider's already set its eyes on the tower, and that's going to do some big damage. Hog Rider manages to get a couple of hits off, but wow, 138 health left alone already.
That was a big commitment. The aggressive fireball into that as well, not bringing it down means that the skeleton gets on top of this tower. The minions are going to try and take it down eventually.
Oh, Juhan does manage to retaliate with his own Hog Rider. This might do a serious amount of damage. I'm not sure if it's going to quite even up, but at least getting some damage on the table. There comes down the lightning, and that's going to clear things out.
The thing is if you get down one of these towers early on in the game, it gives you a positional and strategical advantage to be able to place units, or troops even I should say, on their side of that river on the right-hand side if that tower to go down. So committing early to that with a fireball or something like that, it's ambitious, but it almost came back to bite him with the counter-aggression we saw from Johan.
Well, as soon as you get the option to build your units and your buildings and your troops further up, the fact that you can put your buildings there is quite an advantage. I mean, we're not seeing it too much. I assume that's for good reason. I'm sure these guys know a damn sight more about this game than we do. I mean, everyone's playing for the money, right? But still, having the advantage to actually just place it that much closer really puts a lot of pressure if you're defending against it.
We'll be playing next time, man, don't worry.
Oh, of course.
Poison's going to be added on here to be aggressive, not only to try and bring down that bomb tower as well, but also any minions that would be brought in defense. The spear goblins on the right-hand side bring down the tower. And that fireball to try and clean up some of those minions. Good fireball, very important against barbarians, but because it's not one-shotting them at these particular levels, it doesn't do as much.
Now, a big difference between both these players right now is Elfie's putting his bomb tower down in the middle to distract the Hog Riders and distract the attacks, whereas Johan's putting down his Barbarian hut behind his tower, so it's not distraction. He wants the units more so than the distraction advantage, but he's not getting it because he is severely down on towers right now.
And of course, once that fireball hits Barbarians, they're in one-shot range for the tower, so that's very, very important here as a synergy statement alone as well. As he's trying to bring down this tower with 8 seconds left, I don't think he's going to get it with that poison. There's enough defense here for Elfie, and that should push him to a 1-0 lead here in this first of 3 wins.
Now, that was a very steady game, really. I'd say that was really quite by the book. I know a lot of our games have been very explosive right now, very sort of back and forth, especially with use of like such rockets at clutch moments. But that was very much just tried and true standard. I know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to keep doing it until the match is over, and he's up himself 1 game right now.
Yeah, that was good stuff there. Good stuff. Slow and steady wins the race. But, you know, again, as we said, you know, there's more aggressive tendencies towards the quick Hog Rider, even the follow-up on the fireball on that tower, which unfortunately didn't work out in the end. But it does leave it low for later stages, so it's not... You know, it's not a catastrophic thing as long as you're able to deal with the counter push that we were mentioning before.
Well, it's always a means to an end when you try and really chip down one of those towers, because it might not mean much early game, but as soon as a tower gets low health at low time left, it becomes a bit more dangerous.
Too true, too true. Now, Johan is going to be musing over what to choose next here, with Alfie taking that 1-0 lead.
I can understand why you take your time. There is money on the line now. Obviously, like the bragging rights are a huge deal. Obviously, these guys, they want to be the best. Right now, Finland has come out in force and been very dominant. But as soon as you've gone past the camaraderie of being from the same country and being, you know, brothers in arms, as it were, you're then playing for money. And that's like, okay, only one of us can take home this large chunk of it. And then you really have to... I would take my time. You know what I mean? If you have the option to wait it out and really think about, okay, I lost this game. What do I have to do next? What is it? My cards? Was it how I played? You really haven't got long to think about all that.
Heard some goblins already. We're getting into game number 2. As we did have a few spear goblins on the right-hand side, countered by the Musketeer. We haven't seen much Musketeer so far, apart from our 3 Musketeers from, of course, Arinx in the first game.
I mean, it could be a mixture of different things. 3 Musketeers, while a very powerful card, very elixir heavy, so maybe that's why we're not seeing it too much. But it did a lot of damage in the first set.
Musketeer alone, quite powerful in terms of range. Can do a lot of damage to towers if you let it go for a little bit too long. You can also see like a combo of like Musketeer Valkyrie is something that's very, very popular. Chief Pet, in fact, was one of the guys that kind of posted builds recently that were very, very powerful. One of the players here today, of course.
Well, I mean, definitely worth giving a really huge shout out to the YouTubers that came out in force today. I mean, they did a really good job building the community. Their YouTubes are just an amazing source of information. So if you guys watching, there might be new players, do check out Chief Pat, Mole, Nick at Night. We saw Clash with Ash. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we watched them to learn the tournament, but an amazing source of information to learn this game.
Yeah. Well, this is already doing all right so far, but it doesn't get too much done in the end. That bomb tower is able to clean things up with Hog Rider as going to be the counter. And that's going to be followed by some little Goblins.
Hog Rider does get through cleanly. Wonderful lightning bolt. Going to do some serious damage to the left. Going to even things out a bit, but the Barbarians are shuffling their way down this left lane. Bomb tower going to do a good job of doing some damage to them as it does hit in an AoE. But the Hog Rider going to jump over and go for some clean damage on the bomb tower as well. Going to run through to his next target. The question is if he gets there alive or not.
Yeah, and it looks like that cleanup is okay by the Gobbos. Good job, fellas. One card remaining on Alpha.
Oh, they're hungry. They're still going. They haven't had enough. They are going to go down to the tower, but going to chip away some nice damage on the tower before they do meet their demise.
But Johan has two more things up his sleeve. Now, what are those going to be? He's biding his time, saving up full elixir.
Now, I assume, if we haven't seen, like I say, if we haven't seen this last card at this point in the game, I assume he's got it. He's just saving it. He's waiting for the prime moment. Could be a rocket like we saw beforehand.
Well,
cheeky rocket to finish things off. Perhaps.
Going into the maybe going into double elixir time now. That means that it's much easier for him to throw that Barbarian hook down. But likewise, the follow-up once again here from Elphick committing to that fireball, and we're seeing that the giant skeleton coming in here to try and push on with the bomb.
Oh, there we go. There's the lightning, but again, the fireball used. We've got an Ice Mage, we've got Musketeer, Hog Rider, giant skeleton goes down, but we've got Barbarians following in again. The Hog Rider's going to take out this middle tower. Where does it go? Going to get at least a couple of hits off before it dies.
Poison's
serious damage.
That's a lot of damage coming out from that poison as well. Yeah, it cleans up the Minion Horde in the end. These two Barbarians won't get too much done, but every little counts at this point. If he brings down that one tower, whilst all of this is going on, look, you can see him just focusing down the left-hand side with another fireball going in. He's really desperate to take that tower.
Well, we see this, the last card Johan was saving was this giant skeleton, so it is used now. So all the cards are literally on the table right now. We see Barbarians going through, Goblins following up, Musketeer doing some damage too.
This
Minions
is a big
out.
push. This is quite a big push here. He did use Zap to kind of clean up a little bit of it. As the defensive capabilities coming out from the Spear Goblins.
Hog Rider.
Okay, I think it might get through. Oh, second bomb
clutch.
tower. Good stuff. Really good soaking potential. But the poisons, if this keeps up like this, poison, it's not even a huge commitment with this double elixir time, meaning that he could slowly bring that down, but another fireball over towards that. If he gets through, but that's the push. That's the push. Oh, almost gets through.
Johan just needs to get a few minions through. 1 or 2 hits left's going to do it. Hog Rider's coming in. Minions left. Goblins even to left. What
He's got Ice Mage. The Hog Rider finishes it out. Johan takes it. And that is 1-1.
Now this is a good set. This is shaping up to be really good right now because they're really close, very steady, but even that match, because it went into overtime, as soon as you get access to the double elixir, and you can be a little bit more sparing with your, especially your spell cards when you're using them to chip away at tower life, it just becomes really fast-paced, and there we go, 1-1.
You can see, I mean, Hog Rider has always been such a popular card throughout the game's lifespan so far, and understandably so. You can see how it's utilized in such great ways. We're not even seeing any freezes coming into these later decks in the quarterfinal, but it does synergize very, very well with a lot of stuff. Obviously, the tunnel vision mentality of the Hog Rider, just coupled up with anything, it can bust through. It can bust through very quickly and unexpectedly.
Well, I think the Hog Rider is just a good choice for the way these guys clearly like playing this game, because they were very much, like I said before, tunnel visioning down a single lane, but when a tower has like 500 health, 400 health, 300 health constantly, because the Hog Rider is doing so much damage with each hit, you have to be ready to defend that, and in order to defend against a Hog Rider on the spot, you have to have cards left in your hand, so you have to be really careful with what you keep, as opposed to what you put down to defend against it.
All right, well, we are going into game number 3 here. Once again, as Elphick and Johan currently 1 apiece at the moment. Seeing those Spear Goblins come in against Barbarians. Barbarians currently Johan's favourite card.
I mean, he's putting them to good use, and we see a giant skeleton. Hog Rider managed to slip through the left, though. He's going to get a lot of damage. Both players using a lot of elixir. That's going to be a lot of damage.
This is a big trade. This is a very big trade. The Minion Horde isn't going to clean that up too quickly, but at the same time, he committed on that left-hand side very aggressively as well with that Hog Rider and follow-up support. So, yeah, look, 133 health. I thought he was going to get it with that push, but eventually the Minion Horde did what it needed to do.
Now, 133 health doesn't mean anything when your opponent has access to a poison, a fireball. That tower's basically gone. It's only there temporarily, but the question is, he's getting a counter push. The cannon goes through. Cannon doing a great job of just chipping away loads of damage.
He should eventually have poison. I don't think he switched out his deck out, but looks like that will go down very quickly.
I mean, a minute down and 2 towers already gone. One for each player. Incredible game so far.
All right, so Another push on towards this right-hand side. Just kind of stalling things out for a moment. That cannon, quite useful here for Alpha to, likewise, as they stall out for the moment.
Question is the cannon going to manage to take them both out before it dies? No, the Barbarian's going to shuffle his way down towards the Crown Tower. Will it kill him before he reaches it? I'm not quite sure. It's hurting him a lot. He might get one hit off, but he is basically, he managed to die very quickly there. Hog Rider manages to go through, though.
Yeah, and you see how he placed it just one hex forwards? So the Hog Rider actually focuses on the Barbarian hut and not the tower. That's very, very important here to make sure that you just sustain some damage on your side.
I mean, that's the point of the game, that it's hard to describe, but it's definitely there. Remember, these players, they're literally placing things down on a touchpad with their fingers. Yep. And that's quite sensitive when it's down to the amount of places you can actually spawn your units. That was really well played.
All right, so the reaction on the right-hand side, so the Minion Horde cleaning up the Barbarians, but at the same time left Giant Skeleton as well as some follow-up with the Goblins. But I'm not even sure if it'll get on top of that tower just yet. The reactions here are able to clean that up, and he even got the Musketeer as well with those Goblins, which is very important.
Barbarian can't manage to go down and soak up some of the damage. They are going to do a good job of actually defeating these Goblins as well. We see an Ice Mage deployed as well.
Lightning being the choice over there, so he's doing more damage on towards that. That's a change-up from Elfie. He didn't have that before. He only had Zap, so very, very opportunity for him to use it later down the line. As long as he can stabilize in defense, which is important, because Poison's going to come out and kill off some of these minions.
Now, Poison and a Hog Rider. Hog Rider only manages to get one hit, but that is quite a chunk of health. But we can see Johan defending right now with 666 life left on this tower.
Oh, good placement of that Barbarian hut to make sure the Hog Rider doesn't get through. I thought maybe there was going to be a follow-up of Lightning there once again to try and bring down that tower quickly, because there's only 10 seconds left on the clock before overtime.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like I said before, the lower your towers are when you're approaching overtime, it gets really dangerous. But we can see the Giant Skeleton deployed on the left, going to try and set up a push here, with Barbarians behind him, going to try and stop with his own Barbarians, but they are going to go down the Minion Wave as well, and an Ice Mage as well to deal with all of this.
And it's very important, your placement of troops against a Giant Skeleton, because the bomb will blow up, and unless your units actually move forwards. But that Hog Rider with this push on the left-hand side might be able to kill off this tower if he's not careful. Poison goes down as well. No, I don't think it's going to be enough.
That Poison's going to deal with the Goblins. The Barbarians do completely surround the Mage, and he gets absolutely deleted. The Musketeer not going to really be able to survive this case either, but the Hog Rider manages to go through the right.
Oh, has to react with an Ice Wizard. That's not the best response to this. That's probably going to take the tower. The Barbarians! Oh, they get him just in time. And the Zap focuses the Barbarians, not the tower. He should have just waited.
That was such a misplay.
Oh, the Lightning gets the Barbarians and not the tower. He could have waited just a moment for that shot, but, well, there you go.
Now this is dangerous because Elfie has access to a Lightning, but the Hog Rider's going to finish us off. That is clean game 2 to Elfie.
Even zaps it at the very end. Elfie 2-1.
We call that a definitely dead tower in the business.
Yep, definitely dead.
Hog Rider is just MVP of the tournament so far.
Yeah, man. I mean, of course, he's a powerful guy. He's a powerful guy. I would do my replication of him, but I've got a little bit of a cold, so I don't want to do the high squeal Hog Rider guy. Like, it's not easy.
I'll leave that to them when they're celebrating with their victory money.
Yeah. Victory money will make anybody go quite high-pitched, for sure.
Of which Elfie is a single game, literally one game, mere minutes away from playing Clash Royale for at least 1,000 euros. Quite a situation to be in.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Especially since they didn't have to travel too far here to Finland. Their travel probably took a lot less than mine, as mine took 11 hours from Germany. That was an interesting trip, to say the least.
I genuinely feel sorry for you. That's happened to me before, and it is not comfortable.
I still don't have my luggage.
Rip, man.
That's having a longer journey than I am, apparently.
I mean, your luggage is seeing the sights, I'm sure.
I guess so, yeah. I guess I'll see it eventually. All right, we are going into game number 4. Huge thank you for tuning in so far here to the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament for 2016. As it's been a roller coaster so far. On to game number 4, Mustard.
Yes, 200 players entered. We are down to a mere 8, and even less than that moving into the semi-finals after this. But only one of these 2 players can advance to 1,000 euros and the semi-finals. Elfie currently up 2 games. Johan up to 1. He has 2 to make a comeback. The Hog Rider goes through the right again. He's going to do some damage, but is probably going to die soon, but manages to get a couple of hits. A couple of hits from the Hog Rider. That's still a chunk.
Yeah, a couple of good hits followed up by the Goblins that made that distance as well. So the opportunity for that Hog Rider to tank up some of the damage whilst getting Goblins behind it that generally are very squishy, can't really get that far forwards, but they were able to clean up and help the Hog Rider, even get a little bit of damage afterwards. Really good unit composition, that Hog Rider and Goblins.
Especially when you're putting the Hog Rider in first, because the Hog Rider is going to be the first thing at the tower, so the towers can go for that. So if you have these high damage but very squishy units behind the Hog Rider, they're all going to get some big damage, and the Hog Rider's going to be the first to go.
And we see the lightning still instilled here by Elfie. Does do even more damage, and right now, Elfie is in the driving seat. Very much so, but will that giant skeleton change anything?
So we've got Barbarians, Giant Skeleton, and Musketeer right now, but the cannon's good. Going to do some big damage to the Giant Skeleton and the Barbarians as well. Giant Skeleton soaking up all this cannon damage, but a big push on the go.
Now, you saw the Barbarians actually didn't fully focus down the Musketeer. That's ideally what Elfie wanted, because that's the one doing the most damage in that situation. Didn't get onto it, so not exactly the most favorable trade there for Elfie, as Johan just breaks through a little bit.
Just really good general elixir management right now. I mean, they're always finding themselves in a position where they can react. It's just when one of them slips through just a few bits of health left that we're seeing this big damage come through.
And we're seeing those little spear goblins getting on through. Doing a little bit of damage, of course, but now that big commitment of elixir over towards the Barbarian hut gives extra targets for things to, once they go across, not necessarily focusing on that. So Hog Rider is something that's not as useful right now unless it's got a big push behind it.
Well, I guess in this situation, it's a question of, are you willing to trade 2 of your elixir for a couple of hundred of tower health? And this situation where you're trying to chip down a weak tower, probably for the most part.
I mean, all Elfie has to do now is sit back and play his defensive game. He's even getting aggressive on the left-hand side, which is actually really smart here in this situation, because later on, all he has to do is lightning that tower a few more times, but that's a big push on the right-hand side that he might not have full. Oh, the double cannon actually was able to reroute that very nicely.
Now, the Barbarians placed on the left to defend the tower, perfectly placed, because they completely pushed the Hog Rider away before it could do some serious damage, and they're actually going to still be alive to split off on this aggression here.
It's a lot. The Minion Horde at the back is cleaning up some of the higher DPS units, though, and that will push it away. Saving his tower for now. Does he have a lightning or anything to follow this up? There's the Hog Rider. Barbarians come in to try and block.
Oh, but he gets absolutely liquidated on the way. Barbarians can absolutely destroy, and Musketeer doing good with damage as well. Here's a big push. Hog Rider was open while the tower still goes down.
Oh, the cannon in the front. The cannon in the front is so important. It didn't allow the Hog Rider through after the tower goes down, and Elfie will take it. That cannon placement, so clutch.
That was literally what saved him the game and won him the set. If that cannon wasn't there, his tower would have been destroyed, and that would be a draw situation going into sudden death. He manages to keep himself in. He will be advancing as your last semi-finalist today.
Great reactions, and that makes it for an all-Finnish semi-final.
Who saw this coming, though?
Considering the lineup of players that we had here today, I didn't expect that to be the occurrence, but there you go. So all-Finnish top in this top 4 at the moment. Of course, it was always going to be in this last quarterfinal, considering both of them were finished, but that's beside the point.
It's locked in now, that's the thing. It's officially a thing.
Yeah, so in a bit, we'll get to Sean with our winner, Elfie, there. But from the quarterfinals so far, what a variety of decks we've been able to see here so far, Mustard.
I know, it's been absolutely wonderful. I think my favorite thing about this tournament is this is a wonderful way to show off Clash Royale. It's a free-to-play mobile game, and it's still relatively in its early stages, especially if you're looking at it as a competitive game. You know, they're playing for money today, players from all around the world. They're playing for bragging rights. They love the game, literally from all over the world, but they're playing for money as well, obviously. But it's the fact that it's such a new game. We've got so many of these players we haven't seen before, doing really well against established, popular players.
I mean, I'll be totally honest with you. This game alone has completely changed my view of mobile gaming.
Yes.
Like, because of how good it is and because of the potential in terms of competition that you can actually get from this game. So that's how good this game is. That's coming from an avid PC master race guy. Like, that's how that goes. But anyway, we can check in with Sean, who is with our next semi-finalist going forwards.
I am indeed Kalaris. Elfie.
Yes.
That was down to the wire. That's got to be pretty intense.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'm just happy that I won.
Happy is good. Happy is good. Now, I've got to ask you, you know, my hands sweat when I'm in an intense moment in a game, and I can imagine up here and playing in front of these guys, that's going to happen too. How do you battle that?
I don't know. I mean, for sure my hands were shaking when I was playing, but you just have to deal with it.
Just have to deal with it. Your opponent, Finland, all Finnish here for the quarterfinal. How was it playing?
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I can take someone down, but...
Well, you are our 4th semi-finalist of the day. Guys, a round of applause. Come on, guys, a round of applause. Elfie, I'm going to let you go back and start setting up. I'm sure that you want to do something. Of course, let me jump over here. Commiserations, I'm sure you're not feeling great. Anything you want to say?
What?
Anything you want to say?
Well, I feel angry.
Angry is understandable. Guys, a round of applause. And then there were 4. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to the 4 semifinalists that we're going to have today. Let's take a look at the bracket. You can see it right now. We're looking to see who will go in to that final, and we know that each team along the way did some great stuff. We saw Nazim take out Arix from Spain. We saw Steroidy69 take out Class with Ash from Boston. And of course, Jason took out Derek from Hong Kong. Big upset there. And now Elfie has tied it up. All 4, all Finns, all to play for here. They definitely take home 1,000. Who's gonna take home 10,000? We're gonna be right back with lots more action. Don't go anywhere, and if you do go anywhere, make sure you take an iOS or Android device with you and play Clash Royale on the way. We'll be right back. See you shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to lovely Helsinki, Finland, where you join us live as we bring you the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament 2016. Come on, guys, 200 have become 4. Are you ready? Indeed they are. As I said, 200 hopefuls entered. We've already whistled it down through the quarterfinals, which can mean only one thing. It's semi-final time. Once again, yes, there is a new look for the stage as we go into semi-finals. So, without further ado, our first semi-finalist hailing from Helsinki, or rather from Finland, from Turku. He took out RX from Spain. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the stage, Nazim! Nazim, last time you stood here, you were understandably nervous. How are the nerves doing now?
It's well better. I feel much more confident, and I think I'm gonna manage this.
I hope you do manage. Now, you are already guaranteed leaving here with 1,000 euros. How does that make you feel?
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Not bad for a Saturday afternoon. Now, standing in your way is somebody hailing from Helsinki, I'll get that right, and on their journey here did take out none other than Clash with Ash from Boston. So please, one more time, show some love, make some noise for Steroidy 69. Steroidy, how are you feeling? Relaxed, ready?
Well, pretty relaxed because I won 1K, so I'm good.
Already got 1K, don't even have to let me say. That is good news. How do you feel about your opponent?
Well, I guess he's a good opponent, and I don't know.
No need for words. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Turku Helsinki semi-final. Gentlemen, please come here, shake hands. It is about the fun, about the sportsmanship, but of course, these guys are taking their first step. One of the two will be your first finalist of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, a round of applause. You have been fantastic throughout, and two guys that are definitely fantastic are our commentary team, so over to you, boys.
Thank you very much, Sean. We are finally at this point. 4 players left in the tournament with 200, and to be honest, it's been underdog after underdog, just turning up and winning. I mean, a lot of 3-0s, some 3-1s, very dominant performances all round. But this match coming up, which I'm really excited about, was the fact that Nazim, just to remind some of you guys at home, Nazim was basically the bottom seed.
Yes.
The lowest, he was 8th place. He only just got there. His opponent's 9th and 10th underneath him. 1 trophy, 2 trophies, just separating them. I mean, this guy scraped through, yet turns up and then wins 3-0. It gave us a phenomenal first set. And again, Steroidy came up against Clash with Ash, one of the YouTubers that made the trip over here, and using his deck, which I actually think is really well crafted. Now, as you can see, his favorite card is the Mortar. There are differing opinions on this unit, but Steroidy uses it very well. One of the Mortar's biggest weaknesses is that it can't target units right next to it. So what does Steroidy do? He puts a Tesla tower right next to it, so that can sort of deal with the shortcomings. There's always going to be an element of strategy, whether people agree with cards or not, or whether they like them how much. The reality is there's a lot of variety in the game, and there is scope for counters. I mean, even when we saw him fight Clash, he was really onto something in that final game where he went for the huts, the spawners that would constantly pump out these units that wouldn't damage the opponent's tower. It only served the purpose to constantly distract the enemy mortar. Now, here's the thing. This kind of tournament setting, a lot of these guys are not very familiar with. So these things about understanding an opponent going, I know that my opponent is going to use a mortar deck. So do I go straight in with constantly going for distracting units, or does he try what worked for him in the original game and no counter pick is necessary? Now, last time we saw Nazim play earlier today, it was a lot of counterplay. That's what we saw the most. It was just an incredible amount of just waiting for his opponent to make a move, and then he had counters ready. He's already going in for this Goblin hut And we see the mortar go straight down from Steroidy, but I think it is actually
misses
completely because of the speed on those Goblins. Fantastic play. I love the idea that he's actually gone for the Goblin Hunt instead, just to outspeed that mortar, and immediately you can tell that Nazim has done his homework. Yeah, Nazim is 100% ready for this mortar. He has the building, the cheaper building in the Goblin Hut to distract the mortar from shooting his towers, and he's got the lightning ready as well to deal serious damage to the mortar. I don't think the mortar's going to do much at all in this game. Okay, so, and just like that, he has the lightning ready to go, so he waits for the Goblin barrel to appear and then goes straight in. Fantastic play right there as well. You see the Skeletons are going to split off. Skeletons not too much of a threat by themselves. They do die in one hit to the towers, but again, Nazim's got this defense going up again against this mortar. We see the Tesla Tower and an Inferno Tower. So many buildings coming out from Steroidy right now. That's a lot of fortification right there, I mean, and it's just going to act as one giant distraction. The question is the bomb going to reach the target? Oh, just like that, taking out the mortar, which is definitely the threat in this situation. Well, if it's a question of Tesla Tower, Mortar, Inferno Tower, the Mortar every day of the week is the one that you want to get rid of first, especially if it's in range to damage your own buildings. And they're straight in with the rocket. It really is no surprise that he has a rocket available to go. And I love the way that he's gone by this deck. Now, Steroidy's been playing this really well. However, how many of those rockets is Nazim going to have on deck to literally, if he's going to play for the one tower, and he's already done that much damage to Steroidy's tower, I mean, who's going to take the first one, you know? It depends. I mean, he's playing for this extremely defensive set of cards. But right now, it's not really working out for him. But Nazim is actually playing this really clever. He is just, this deck is built to counter the mortar. He has the building to distract it. He has the rocket to do guaranteed building damage. All he's doing is stalling out, defeating the mortar, defeating the Tesla towers, get rid of the mortar, and then bam, his rockets are going to do all the damage he needs. He doesn't need to push, he just needs to destroy the mortar so he can do rocket damage. That is going to be 2 Teslas back to back. Now the mortar is probably going to target one of those things. Nice Goblin Hut just to go behind the enemy lines. That's going to be good damage, but even better reservation of that lightning spell. Ready with those reactions just in case. See a bit of a stalemate going on. Again, the Goblin Hut's going to take a mortar shot. Going to take one more shot. No, it does destroy itself. I think it can be a clean shot on the Princess at least. I think what's out in the field right now is literally the epitome of what Steroidy's been doing. You have all of these buildings ready to go. And it's hard to just penetrate that kind of defense. But I mean, the question is, has Nazim got a rocket on deck and is he saving it? But the problem is, it's a lot of elixir and he hasn't got a lot available right now. But we are down to 10 seconds left. This 900 health tower on the right, Steroidy, is in a little bit of trouble, especially considering he's done so little damage to Nazim's buildings. Nazim's been saving a lot of elixir, and just so I can say that, going in for a push, the question is, what's going to accompany this giant skeleton? I mean, there's no way the giant skeleton's going to get through, but he's just soaking up all this damage. The Tesla tower's down, the minion's going to go down. Oh, Goblin Barrel goes through! Secret Goblin Barrel, how much damage? Has he been saving the lightning? Yes, he has! Great reactions there, ready to go. And the Princess is just going to sit pretty right there, chipping away at that of those giant buildings there. Take it out once again. The mortar is distracted because once again Nazim has saved the spawner unit there just to get through the mortar. Now the minions do manage to get through, but they are quite low. We can see this Barbarian Hut's going to do a really good job of just distracting all this damage. It's pure distractions. Nothing Steroidy has is getting past this middle point. That tower's looking pretty delicious for a rocket right now. I mean, let's not be around the bush. If this giant skeleton gets a good push, all he has to do is get through. Golem barrels once again. Has he been saving the lightning? Yes, he has. Good really defense. Smart play. I mean, again, the barrel's doing damage on an impact. It's doing some unavoidable damage, but he's managing to save himself from a lot of goblin damage. But again, this Princess again, but the mortar's got through. There we go. How much damage is it going to do? Oh, 100 left. All he needs to do is get one final thing. Nice use of the arrows right there. 11 hit points left. Anything from range will do at this point. Fantastic gameplay. Now, that was close. Steroidy had a lightning available. There was a question of who manages to get this spell off first to take out that first objective, and Nazim manages to clutch it out once again with that last little bit of damage. He is sitting there cool as a cucumber. Look at that. Hey, man, he's ready for this win. He knows. He's gone, okay, my opponent's using mortars. I need a deck going into this tournament that deals with that, and this is that deck. It's the perfect counter. But there's always the chance that when we had these kind of preliminary group stages where everyone played everyone for an hour and a half, like, there's always the chance that when Steroidy turns up, people are like, I don't really expect this guy to have such a strong defensive mortar deck. Going into the semi-finals where everyone here has the chance to study their opponent. I mean, there is no way that Nazim didn't study up on this guy and went, how can I craft a deck during this downtime that will just completely get around the fact that this guy obviously loves mortars. But if you main, let's say, I'm not sure what you would call it, but let's say you main the mortar deck. Let's say that really is your go-to deck. Your go-to thing is, I play the mortar and I craft my deck around this card. That is going to have a direct counter in what we're seeing from Nazim. But this is now up to Steroidy to make the adjustment, to go, okay, this isn't going to work. It was a close game. He almost got through, but that was more down to Nazim making a slight mistake at the end and dealing with the mortar. Didn't get his building off in time. The mortar did target his tower before he got his building out. But is Steroidy going to change, or is he just going to rely on another mistake? I guess we just have to wait and see. There's no way to know. And that's the thing about we are currently using the new Spectator mode, which will be available in a free update coming up. So obviously we're using the Spectator mode right now, but one of the things is we cannot see the card in the opponent's hand. So it opens up for a lot of speculation. We can see the cards they've played in this match, and we can see their entire deck once they've played everything in that deck in the match, but we cannot see what's in their hand or cards they haven't played. So you guys and girls at home watching are just as in the well, I guess mystery as we are. Now you can see there's some buildings put up almost immediately, and that's one of the benefits of this Tesla Tower, is that it's kind of hard. It only dishes out damage when there is something in its vicinity, right? So it can actually kind of sit there pretty, sitting quite safe. Now, what we saw in the last game was the fact that almost immediately Nazim has gone, yes, obviously stick with his deck, but he's going to stick to this idea of just constantly going for the squad units. Now, Steroidy has been quite reluctant to go for a mortar. He might not necessarily have one. Has gone for the Hog Rider. I do believe this is the first time we've seen him go for this deck. Now, I think we may have seen Steroidy completely abandon this mortar tactic. I'm not sure how much his old deck was purely crafted for the mortar, we can see. But I mean, I bet we haven't seen a mortar this game yet from him. That's one of the smart plays that we tend to do. Already going in, the skeleton is distracted. Now that's one of the combinations, and again saving that lightning spell every single time, remembering that he has a Goblin Barrel ready to go. So I mean, there's no reason you would change that instant piece of damage. Really smart there from Steroidy just to keep that card in line, ready to go. But I really like this this adjustment to the Hog Rider, because we've actually seen the Hog Rider make a lot more of an impact in today's tournament than we have seen the Mortar. So the Hog Rider definitely a tried and true force to be reckoned with today. Nazim got a lot of mileage out of that Hog Rider as well, though, in his original set of the quarterfinals, so he's going to be familiar with that card. Oh no, a bit of a waste on the lightning by Nazim. Tries to finish off the Tesla Tower, but it will die naturally, so a bit of a waste of Elixir, unfortunately. Hog Rider's going to go straight and try to get out. I'm not sure if that was a freeze. Nice once again. That's a really good combination, that freeze and the Hog Rider. Going straight, he's going to get some of that poke. Down depends if the Princess is going to get one shot. He's going to get at least one hit right there. Kind of shaving that tower, not doing too much damage, now, but once again, like I said before, we're using this new Spectator mode, this Observer mode. We have seen Steroidy has played every card in his current deck. No mortar to be seen. He's completely abandoned it. I like that play. I mean, trying to show that he has other things ready to go. And also the fact that he can change deck when Nazim is locked into a deck that is entirely built to counter mortar. Oh, the Fireball's gonna, wow, it's gonna hit both the hut and the tower for a nice amount of damage. But we can see this spawner tactic from Nazim. He's got a Goblin hut and a Barbarian hut. Hog Rider goes down, but he's gonna go straight for the, no, it's gonna go straight for the tower. He's gonna cleanly get through. This could be a dead tower on the left if we don't see retaliation. There's a lot of push going in right now. Going in with the freeze just for good measure. Oh, wow. And he gets a very crucial rocket. But I don't think it's enough. Single Goblin running straight in there, getting that secret little hit to take out that first tower. Steroidy in a great situation. Has he saved the lightning? That's the question. Yes, he had once again. I mean, I would be very surprised if we ever catch him without that lightning ready to go. And just for that situation, not overcommitting, saving the lightning, keeping his elixir ready, and he can just play on that one tower. Looking really good for Steroidy right now. Oh, 80 health left, didn't do enough damage. Hog Rider goes down. That was a good game from Steroidy. That was clutch. I like the adjustment. I really like the adjustment, showing that it's not all about, I mean, yeah, he's got a mortar deck ready to go, but right there you can see he played every single card in his deck. That lone and there Goblin, was no... that lone Goblin. He just needed one more, didn't he? He just needed one more troop just to get taken out, but that Goblin going to sneak in there and do a cheeky little backstab on that tower, taking out that last little bit of health. That was the play. Backstab, that was, he was brash, went straight up to him and went, all right, mate, let's go, you and me building, and the Goblin won. Now the question is, in this situation, I mean, once again, I would be very surprised if we don't see some kind of switch, because Nazim went straight in there and understanding that, you know, Steroidy was going to go for a mortar deck, and then that's kind of the thing about this tournament saying, where we're playing first to 3 games, where the option to counterpick the opponent, you know, for those of you that may not understand the whole idea of counterpicking, it's taking the time out to look at what you've lost to. And this actually applies to loads of games. Looking at what you lost to and having the luxury, having lost that next game, to change something up to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage. You know, that's what happens when you lose games, and it's no exception. That's why game 1 in a set, while even though you've got potentially, you know, extra games behind you, let's not forget, they are playing first to 3. So best of 5 set. First to 3. So winning that first match, even though you've got all those games behind you, gives you the luxury of being able to be the first one to counterpick should you lose beyond that. So we can see a very defensive start here from both players. No one's overcommitted to anything. Sometimes we can see potentially early Hog Riders and stuff. But for the most part, these guys will just sit there. Speaking of early Hog Riders, he's going to have to go. And unfortunately, does actually commit to just having the Ice Wizards on the right-hand side. Double freeze right there. Oh, wow, they froze each other. Wow, really, really interesting stuff. Hog Rider is going to lose. Now, that was the important thing. The Hog Rider had to die. That was why the freeze was put down. Was because, okay, if this Hog Rider is let loose, my tower is in serious trouble. Valkyrie's going to run in and completely get taken out by that minion unit right there. It's a bit of a mirror match on the left-hand side. Getting that lightning just to get a little bit of damage on the tower. Now, nice stuff. One low minion. That really isn't going to do anything. It's going to get shot once by the tower and see you later. Farewell. Okay, so we have gone back to this kind of defensive situation. Both guys opting to kind of save up some elixir and maybe wait for what the other guy's going to do, or save up for some kind of big push.
Well, let's see what they've already played. We can see both of them have the standard Goblins, both of them have the minions, but they have a little bit of differences. We can see the first Tesla tower deployed from Steroidy. Definitely seems to favor this building, it seems.
It's definitely an effective building, just kind of sitting there pretty in the front. Hog Rider running in right as the Valkyrie gets spawned. And I like the defense there, waiting for the Inferno unit. Once again, that's the strength of the Inferno Tower, is that it's single damage and extremely high burst. So these slightly high hit points, but single damage, high damage targets will get melted by the Inferno Tower.
I mean, just look at that. It does so much damage. Yes, it does passively lose life over time, but still, just the fact that it's there, it's distracting the big units, and it's doing so much damage to them before it dies itself.
Both players going to lose their buildings at this point. I like the idea, just poking out there with the poison, just to get a little bit of damage there on those barbarians to kind of sort of quell their offense just a little bit.
Takes all the barbarians down to about half, but there's a lot of units going through. The minions are going to be deployed to defense. The lightning is good, does serious damage to the tower, but the barbarians get through the freeze. The barbarians are going through, big damage. Wow, this tower is going down, getting chunked. Lost at least about 4 to 5.
That is a really good amount of poke right there, especially now we have 60 seconds left on the clock. The question is, what's the next play?
Double elixir has been activated with there's 60 seconds left on the clock, so a lot of scope for aggressive and very fast-paced play.
Speaking of aggressive, we have a Hog Rider paired out with a couple of Goblins. Good to go. That's going to do quick damage right there. So that he's going to completely ignore them. The Hog Rider's going to run up behind. This could be it. Good use on the freeze. Double freeze once again. Shades of the beginning of the game. Rears its head.
Oh, the Hog Rider gets one last hit of 355 health. Now
that
30
one
seconds left.
lone hit might be crucial, depending on what comes next.
Hog Rider gets through. Is there any defense left? It is going to go. Oh, wow, 2 towers. That Hog Rider isn't going anywhere, but Hog Rider on the left going to go through. They're trying to distract it. Getting one cheeky hit once again.
One more hit from Hog Rider is all it's going to take. Goblins are going to run through. That's not going to do any damage at that
dangerous.
point.
Steroidy has access to lightning. We don't know if it's in his hand, but 99 health. He just needs to chip that away.
Nice positioning there, the Barbarians. So here comes the Valkyrie. Here comes the Fireball! Great play right there. Steroidy's going to take that tower and once again move on into the next game after once again stealing that final tower right before the time finish.
Also, very, very impressive play. Steroidy showing he doesn't need the mortar to win. That it isn't a crutch. It's his favorite, sure, but he doesn't need it. He has counters ready if you are ready to defeat it.
Now here's the situation. I mean, if you win one more game when you're 2 games up, that's the difference between 1,000 euros and 10,000. I mean, if you win this, you go into the grand finals to play where you get at least 3,000 euros. But if you win, you take home everything. It's a very top-heavy payout. Let's not forget that.
I mean, these guys, they're playing really cool right now. I know there was a lot of nerves at the start of the day. They do seem to have cleared up somewhat. I guess the players are just getting a bit more comfortable, but they were playing for 1,000 euros before. The winner of this goes home with 3,000. So a 2,000 euro difference between losing this and winning it. Second to first is 7,000. I want to see how they play when there is 7,000 euros separating them. All the capos of the Twitch chat.
Shout out to the Twitch chat. Love to see it. Now, the thing is, in this situation, I mean, I've said this earlier on, but a lot of these guys, this is kind of their first tournament situations. They're playing for so much money, and the pressure really is on at this point. When you get put in a situation where one game could potentially send you home and cost you a lot of money, what do you do? Do you keep it cool? Do you manage to, do you accidentally choke it out? Who knows? But right now, both these players, I think, are being very calm and collective. They do seem a lot more comfortable now than they did at the start of the tournament series.
I'm just happy to see this. I mean, 200 came together today. Lots of new faces, lots of unfamiliar faces, but what united all of them was just a love for the game and just finding it genuinely a fun experience. But now they're playing for big cash, and they've managed to get themselves down to top 4 out of 200 of some of the best players in the world.
Now, is Nazim going to be able to pull this one through and tighten that knot, bringing it one game apiece away from winning? Or is Steroidy going to take this 3-1 and move into grand finals? We'll have to wait and see. Going in for the Hog Rider once again. I mean, it's a very powerful unit, one of the most, if not the most popular unit of this tournament so far. There you see the Minion Horde go down. Ice Wizard's going to try and take him out, but is going to get destroyed. I don't see these minions doing much. The Valkyrie is good. I mean, let's not forget the strength of the Valkyrie. I mean, it's not necessarily against the minion group because they are airborne, but her ability to attack in a circle around her, taking up multiple units. Here comes the Lone Hog Rider. Once again, good patience on the Inferno Tower to just distract that unit. Take him out easily. Now, that really is the make or break we're seeing. If you've got a building ready to distract the Hog Rider, you're okay. But if you get caught without it, that's when you start taking some serious damage. We've seen people get caught without it before, and it's done a big chunk of damage. And in many cases, they have been quite deciding factors. That Hog Rider push with the troops behind that will just dish out the damage and act as good distractions. I mean, it just hasn't stopped really, has it? See Nazim setting a push again with the Ice Wizard, but we see the Goblins to the left. Not quite sure how much damage they'll do by themselves. Maybe just a distraction. Not quite sure what that was about. Sometimes it might be a way to potentially bait out arrows to see maybe Nazim has some arrows good to go. Maybe it's just clearing the unit and just making some space. But going in the Ice Wizard, is he going to get one hit? Is going to get one lone hit. But unfortunately going to get erased very quickly with that minion army. But and manages to chip down a little further. He's doing a little bit of damage infrequently to the tower, but slowly but surely it is going to add up. And especially when it's coming from a Hog Rider, or then again, we've got a Hog Rider and Barbarians going to the left. That's a chunky offense right there. They're going to go in, try and take out those minions. Nice freeze just to pause those units right there. Very crucial, the fact that he had a Hog Rider and some chunky Barbarians running along with him. Great use of the freeze just to stop that offense dead in its tracks. That was really good. Minions are going to go down. The Valkyrie manages to take out the tower, but again, Steroid is going to keep himself in this game, going to take them out before they do any tower damage, and we see a Tesla tower go down again. This is where things are going to get crucial. Double elixir, 60 seconds left before we go into sudden death, and it's going to decide one tower could send either of these guys into a bad situation. Oh, Hog Rider goes in close, goes straight past the Barbarians. The poison's good. I like the idea of accompanying him with the poison, going in with the freeze as well. Good defense. That's going to do a good chunk of damage right there, and it's going to even things out quite nicely on both towers. Now Nazim is sitting in a good situation. Good Inferno Tower to distract the Hog Rider, otherwise that push would have been for nothing. Going to slowly but surely take away some damage from both of them. Left tower sitting at 1300 for Nazim, is doing a good job of just chipping this down. Inferno Tower is still there, so he's going to save himself from a push for at least a little while. Steroidy's definitely on the back foot right now. He has a lot more work to do, but once again, one good push, one crucial little mistake could decide everything. Battle ends in 10 seconds. We probably are definitely going to go into overtime. Nice use of the poison just to quell those offensive units. That's going to do good damage to basically all of them. Valkyrie's going to run in there and do some good circle damage around as well. Now, I feel like the poison was a great choice, because look at the amount of damage that did. He managed to get max poison damage on multiple targets. Here comes the Hog Rider running in, but the Test Tower's going to use up. Oh, nice freeze! Once again, that tried and tested combination of the freeze and the Hog Rider, but both players using their freeze. So once again, we're going to find ourselves at a stalemate. So freezing on reaction to your opponent's freeze truly is a way to go, no, this freeze isn't going to work. My freeze won't do much, but at least it's going to stop you from getting anything off it. It's just a complete definition of a stalemate. Good use of the Inferno Tower. Once again, that's going to do good damage. Once again, these guys are doing very similar plays to one another. I mean, that pairing of the Goblins with the Hog Rider, I mean, it does so much work. The question is the Hog Rider going to take out this tower before he dies? He's going to run straight through. He is going to go down. He's going to save himself some damage, but we see this Wizard doing AoE damage. There's Ice Mage doing huge damage to these Barbarians. I don't think they're going to get to him before he manages to kill them, especially with the Valkyrie behind him. I really want to know what this final unit is that already has good to go. We're yet to see it, but Nazim has played every single ounce of his cards, and as you can see, hasn't got a fireball, hasn't got a rocket. He has to push. I was about to say, he hasn't used this final card. It's either a rocket or a fireball. So big damage manages to try and stall. I like the idea. Stalling with the lightning to potentially build that final piece of elixir to get that freeze on deck. He's still going to get some poke and is still in a bad situation. But I think that freeze was everything. Now that was good damage. Considering Nazim is still sitting pretty at max health on his towers, he is in no danger here. But if Steroidy can at least manage to last a minute and 40 seconds, even if he manages to get some tower down or keep his towers alive, he might manage to make this game a draw. Here comes the Tesla Tower. That is, once again, going to act as a good distraction. He just has to stall for a minute and a half. Good use of the Barbarians as well, but the Valkyrie is going to take out a good amount of damage because, again, she attacks in an area around her. Now, I feel like that may have been a preemptive freeze from Nazim because he now doesn't have it, and a Hog Rider's in. There's no freeze and a Hog Rider charging on the left-hand side. Wrecking Crew coming in on the left-hand side, trying to do as much tower damage as possible. Good defense on the poison. That's going to do big damage to every unit going in. Okay, so the poison was used defensively that time. Nazim manages to keep his tower alive, 1,700 health, still a 1,000 health lead on Steroidy's left tower. But if Steroidy can hold out for 60 more seconds, he might be able to make this game a draw and keep things the way they are. Nazim just needs one good push. I mean, a couple of decent strikes from the Hog unit, and that 710 damage tower. Oh, we'll get the sentence out eventually. It is going to go straight out of there. Now, Hog Rider's going to be dead. There's the freeze to stop it from taking too much damage, but the tower itself, the Tesla Tower, going to take things out. The poison, good. Going to do some chip damage on all these units. The Goblins go down. Tesla Tower might go down to it. Tower's taking a lot of damage too. Barbarians taken, but there's the Hog Rider, but the Inferno Tower, again, so ready. but he is going to go in, freezing the Inferno Tower, reserving a good amount of health. But once again, I do think the Hog Rider is going to get taken out before he goes in. And again, we have the AoE damage of the Ice Mage. Counter attack. Hog Rider goes left. The freeze has been used, but there's a Tesla Tower again to distract the Hog Rider. The Goblins, the freeze is good. Going to take out the Tesla Tower. If he can get this tower and get one more hit on this tower, he has a charge straight through. Who knows? He isn't going to get a crucial hit. This is going to go down to 5 seconds. In this situation, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be good because the thing is, Nazim does not have any specific range damage that he can just put on a tower. In that situation, if he had a fireball, if he had a rocket, especially if he had a rocket in that situation, I mean, that's what Steroidy was doing in those preliminary games, right? Saving his rocket for the final moment. Now, they didn't have anything. The true heartbreaking moment at the end of that game was if Nazim's Hog Rider got one hit on that left tower, the poison would have been enough to finish it off. That was so close. But Steroidy manages to play from the back foot literally all game and managed to draws it out to a draw. And now they're back at square one. It was an interesting style of play. I mean, it's no mystery right now that Steroidy has a very defensive style. I mean, some people will opt to build for giant pushes, some people will opt to build for tower defense. Now, the fact that what these guys did, they actually had a very, very similar metagame to each other where it was all about the Hog Rider. However, they both
almost looked like set one of the top 8.
For sure, absolutely. Because the thing is, in that situation, they both had some kind of decent health building that could just save it. You know, they'd literally just save it when the Hog Rider comes in. But the fact that they both had freeze means that they can both use the same kind of attack. But at the same time, if you know you have to use your freeze, the second one player uses their freeze for an attack, the other player literally just use the freeze in the exact same situation and just put it down at a neutral state once again. So what we saw there was I think Nazim was playing better for chipping out the tower, but because they had such a similar style of play, it wasn't enough to clutch out one of the wins.
But what I like about this deck, and this is purely observation, so correct me if I'm wrong, but both of them have the Hog Rider, which is really the core of their pushes. But then at the same time, they both have counters to the Hog Rider built into their deck to get ready for what they try and do.
Well, one had Tesla Tower, one had Inferno Tower, right? I mean, it's the same kind of fundamental play, but it's just a slightly different unit.
Looks like they're taking their time going into this next game. I mean, with so much money separating them, I can't really blame them. Looks like we are going to go straight into what is this game 5?
At this point, I mean, we did have a draw. So, I mean, at this situation, Nazim is still 2 games down, and Steroidy still needs to just win 1 game. So he has opted to go straight back in. Now, was that a bluff? Was that I don't like the fact you've got a spawner because I've gone back to a mortar deck? It's just like that. Of course he has. Okay, so giving away that he's a little bit unhappy. Straight in with a rocket as well. These guys waste no time on getting that damage. So the fact that Nazim already has a spawner and Nazim already has a rocket, Steroidy has already played his mortar as well. So these guys have gone into this knowing exactly what the fundamental play is.
Now, if you guys and girls at home have just joined us, Steroidy did use this deck against Nazim in the first match of this set, but unfortunately it didn't go his way. Nazim was ready. The core of Steroidy's deck really is that mortar, that big range damage, and Nazim knew Steroidy was going to use that, so his deck is built to counter that. They just faked each other out. They had the opportunity to change decks.
This was definitely a matter of prediction. You know, predicting, not even like within the game itself, it was predicting what deck the opponent is going to choose in this 1st to 3 setting.
Looks like Nazim did manage to get the read. He did predict that Steroidy was going to go back to this mortar deck, so he did get his counter ready. Goblin's going to get a little bit of damage, some big damage adding up to that left tower. Let's not forget, the rocket itself and the arrows and the Goblin barrel, so much guaranteed range damage.
This may necessarily be a repeat of the first game we saw, where what was going on was Nazim had a deck that was built around countering the mortar and just out-sustaining. That's what the rocket is for, it's so that he can sit defensive and nullify the mortar with the single units, but constantly poke away at least 1 tower with the rocket. And as I can say, the rocket's already also going in with a rocket of his own. Both players now are going to have to be very careful with how defensively they play.
Not going to do as much damage to Nazim's tower as Steroidy is currently suffering. So the skeletons are good, but then again, skeletons not going to do too much damage. They do die in basically 1 hit from the tower, so they're not as good by themselves. Mainly just a deterrent, I think, to stop units from attacking and getting close.
This is that make or break situation again. 60 seconds left, doing good damage, just chipping away. A couple more of those. Nazim is going to be in a good situation, and once again, there's so many single units. And talking about big damage, going straight in with the giant skeleton. What is the follow-up? There is a princess behind who's going to churn out damage and damage that mortar from a distance. Once again, going straight in with another Goblin Hut going in. Has he got the arrows ready to go? managed to at least take out the Princess, but we see that Steroidy actually doesn't have access to the Lightning, which was his sort of go-to counter for the Goblin Barrel. He doesn't have that, so the Goblins are going to do a lot more damage in the barrel than they did in the first match. Especially if he accidentally mistimes that arrow, takes a little bit less time. Speaking of Lightning, Nazim has got Lightning good to go. I really don't see Steroidy managing to come back from this. The Lightning was core to countering that Goblin Barrel. Right now, so much guaranteed damage. I don't think Steroidy's going to really be able to get some serious damage on this tower in the 10 seconds to go. At this point,
there's the rocket! How much damage is going to get going straight here? 401 straight into that!
3 seconds left. That rocket, unfortunately, it's not going to do much at all. Nazim brings it back. This is our first situation of this tournament where it's come down to the final game. Now, we mentioned in this set, counterpicking. Nazim is in a strange situation now. He managed to make the read. He changed his deck after the draw because he predicted that Steroidy was going to go back to this Mortar deck. He is now locked in. I guess unless they draw possibly, he's now basically locked in for this next game to use this spawner. But once again, what we saw there was a deck that was built around countering the Mortar just in case Steroidy called that bluff and went straight back to his original deck. Nazim's read on that was extremely correct. However, they're cheering him on. But in this situation, we know that when Steroidy made the change, he won very comfortably. There is one game left. Does Steroidy go back to what he won with originally to counter the counter? Or does Nazim remember it, make a couple of notes, and try and put it through? I mean, there's so many things going on right now.
There is so much more to this game than you might think.
This is a lot more than just taking out 3 towers, let me tell you. I mean, I said it earlier on, but the best of 3 setting where you can counterpick, you can think about things, you can think about how the guy's going to build the deck. It's not just the game, it's outside the game.
You have to read your opponent his reads. I mean, you have to read his reads.
Nazim did make a really good read in that game by going, I think you're going to go back to the Mortar deck, so I'm going to go straight back in for the counter. He could have been wrong. He could have been wrong in that game, but he wasn't. However, now, it's pretty much has definitely confirmed the deck. You can see his hand is shaking. This guy is very nervous.
So this is potentially the last game of the set, unless they draw, but question is, what is Steroidy going to do here? We see the Tesla Tower, but he did have that in his other deck as well with the Hog Rider.
Very hard to tell what kind of deck Steroidy's built right now. I mean, I don't think he's gone for the Mortar. I really don't. And he's gone straight back into the Hog Rider. I do think he's gone straight back to the deck that won before.
So the Giant Skeleton going to do a good job of soaking up all this damage. Hog Rider going to take some serious damage from the towers. Hog Rider might get through, but it depends what Nazim's got. And there's the Rocket. Wow,
that was an expensive defense right there. That's 6 elixir just to counter any damage from the Hog Rider. But again, I think he's trying to go for the game plan of just waiting out the clock, playing to sudden death, and then using some kind of large damage target to just get that 1 tower.
Nazim's left tower taking a little bit of damage. I mean, we're a minute into the game right now and only down about 350 life, so it might not seem too bad now, but we'll see how that seems a little bit later on in the match.
But we know almost immediately there's 2 different spawners, a Giant Skeleton and a Rocket, and a good Fireball once there. So we know, again, that playing defensively might be slightly harder for Steroidy than it is for Nazim, because Nazim has higher single target damage with those spells.
That was a really good Lightning, though, just to do some serious damage. I mean, again, he's already managed to take a couple hundred up and almost even things up just on that alone.
Going in for that little minion army right there just to handle this Barbarians, going straight in. The Princess going to take out good damage. I mean, the good AoE damage.
Oh, there's the freeze. Steroidy's going to take out this Barbarian. The Princess, wow, has managed to be saved. Nazim's clutch arrows to keep her in the game. She's very low on health.
Sending good data to Steroidy right now, though, understanding that he also has arrows good to go, so he's going to be able to plan his next advance very carefully. Here come the Goblins. I mean, they're not going to do a huge amount of damage by themselves, but they're going to shave off just a couple of little bits of hit points right there.
Couple hundred, that's not so bad. I mean, slowly but surely, a couple hundred damage here and there is going to do it.
Now, whoever wins this game moves on to Grand Finals. There's a minute left until we double the elixir. This is a very nerve-wracking situation for both of these players.
You find the elixir's literally just been doubled. It's a minute until overtime. We see the Hog Rider going to do some damage to the Barbarian Hut, but the Hog Rider might not manage to get through this time. I think that was really good placement by Nazim to keep the Hog Rider off, and the Barbarian Hut again to keep things in.
Putting the Barbarian Hut next to his weakest tower, very good call. Going to do good damage to every single unit right there. The Giant Skeleton is very unlikely to reach that tower, especially so much range. Oh, but do I speak too soon? Using the lightning to shut down any of that defense.
The minions, though, the minions managed to fly out of the range. Oh, a few of them will get taken out. Sayonara, you are gone. The minions will definitely get taken out by the tower, but will the Barbarians get through? Princess is good. The Hog Rider,
this is a big push right now.
Using the rocket, saving it. Good situation right there. It's going to do good damage anyway, but once again, saving that rocket for that situation. Here comes the push with the Giant Skeleton. This could be the push that moves Nazim through into Grand Finals. This amazing aggression by Steroidy, but just keeping calm and collected as Nazim keeps himself in. The Goblin Barrel saved till the last minute. Going to chuck on the left. I don't think so.
There's nothing to defend. The Goblins going
going straight in for the lightning right there. And that was that tried and tested combination of the giant skeleton and the goblin barrels getting good damage. But here comes sudden death. One more tower is going to decide who moves on into grand finals. What a game we have, finishing into maybe going into our first grand final. Is so close. Left tower weak on both of them. They really have to pull something magical out at the end. Princess is making her way down. Double the spawner. I mean, that's a lot of pokes. She has to handle that immediately. Good use of the fireball. I agree with that. Just get rid of the danger immediately. Giant skeleton is good. At least soak up. Well, at this point, if Sorority's got the Hog Rider, Barbarians are down. Does the Hog Rider follow? Now, let's not forget as well, Nazim has got a rocket. If he gets a good damage, good use. Here we go. This could be it. 500 health to go on the left, but Sorority hasn't used his Hog Rider in a while. I'm sure he's got it ready. And we also know that Nazim might have a rocket ready to go just to put on that piece of pressure, but I like the fact that he's not spending it too aggressively just in case we see this Hog Rider push. There's the freeze! I was going to call it! They're already ready for it, but the Hog Rider actually is getting pushed around. The Goblin Barrel is good. This Hog Rider is no, but the lightning takes them out. This is so close! The Princess is going to do some damage if Story's not ready to counter her. 531 on Steroidy, 546 on Nazim. Here comes a big push. Minion Army and the Hog Rider. Here we go. This could be it. Oh no, the Hog Rider is looking and he is going to take the tower. Oh no, not left just yet. The rockets to go in with that fireball. Going to take out that tower. What a fantastic play there from Steroidy. Going straight in. He's going to move on into grand finals. What is up with Steroidy saving all of these spells in just the nick of time? He is so on the back foot all the time, but he doesn't lose it. He doesn't throw these cards away. He keeps them for a rainy day, and it always rains, and he is always ready. He is your first grand finalist, guaranteeing himself 3,000 euros minimum. How many of these ridiculous plays are we going to see? It's all coming from Steroidy as well. Huge props to Nazim, though. Absolutely phenomenal play. Probably the best set we've had so far today. That was the set of the tournament. Can we just get a round of applause, guys, for these guys bringing it out today? 200 of them came, and these made top 4, but 3-2. Wow. I mean, and one went down to a draw, so I mean, it was more than that. What a set. That was incredible. I mean, right until the very end, it was even health. Like 30 hit points separated those left-hand towers. And then right at the end, we just think, you're almost ready to wrap it up and go, right, that's over. But that really clutch missile just to handle all of those units. But then before we can even collect ourselves, straight in with the fireball to just steal that grand final. Incredible stuff. I mean, Steroidy really showing why he deserves to be here. But the question is, who is he going to be against? And we're going to find out very soon. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to an interview right now with our host, Sean. Take it away.
Wow, Steroidy, that went right down to the wire. It must have been, I mean, it was nerve-wracking to watch. What was that like to play in?
Well, the opponent was just amazing, like 3-2, and I had like he could have just rocketed me and I would lose. This is just amazing. And I actually played something else than Mortar, so I guess crowd likes me more now. Not like last time.
So I can confirm that no matter what, you're going to be taking home 3,000 euros because you are our first finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Steroidy69. Wait right here, so I'll be right back. I have to say, Nazim, you played fantastically throughout. You are now going to be basically out of the tournament, and that's sad. But you played very well. Can you tell us what were you thinking when it was going down to that wire moment?
Well, I wasn't expecting that Hog Rider at all. It was really good. It was really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, of course, for Nazim. Steroidy, anything you'd like to say before the next matchup?
I'll try to play less Mortar.
Play less Mortars. There's some support for the Mortars out there.
I'm just kidding. I will.
The Mortars might stay in, the Mortars might go out. It'll be a contended subject. I'm going to let you guys go away. Thank you so much. One more time, a round of applause for these two semi-finalists and, of course, your first finalist. Come on, guys. I know you can do better than that. I knew I could count on you. Now, our next matchup saw, first off, taking out Derek from Hong Kong, which was a big scalp for him. And he is from, and let me get it right, Finland, and none other than Kirkkonummi. And his name, ladies and gentlemen, is Jason. Jason, here you are, semi-finals, 1 foot potentially into the final. You watched that match backstage. What did you think?
It was really close. One mistake and it's over.
One mistake made it. Any predictions now for your game that's coming up here? How are you feeling?
I have no idea who's gonna play. I don't know how well my decks are gonna counter him, but we'll see.
You're prepared? You're ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Excellent. Bear with me 1 second. We are going to be bringing up our other Finnish contender coming from Kirava, and I hope I said that right. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for Elfie. Elfie, you are the only one of our semi-finalists that actually took out one of the Finns on the road here. Does that give you any kind of strategic advantage going up against a Finn now?
No.
Absolutely none. How are you feeling having just witnessed that last down-to-the-wire nail-biter?
I'm relieved for sure, but we have to fight on.
Fight on indeed. Guys, are you ready? Come on, guys, are you ready? Guys, please, I ask you to shake hands. Good sportsmen, have a seat, get ready. Woo. The flames have gone, but it's still warm in here, I can tell you that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We are going into our second semi-final, looking for our second finalists. And in order to do that, I'm gonna hand off to the dynamic duo that is Ketchup and Mustard.
Thanks very much, Sean, and we are getting through this. We are down to our final semi-final of the day. The winner of this will go through to the grand finals, who will be playing against Steroidy. Moving in. The question is, are we going to get another set like the one we just had? I hope so. Or is it going to be a clean sweep? I mean, it's really a different dynamic because, like we saw earlier on, Jason causing potentially the biggest upset of the tournament in a very convincing 3-0 fashion, did defeat Derek, who from Hong Kong came here to play. I mean, that guy is arguably the best player in the world on the leaderboard. I mean, he's been on top for so long. The game is relatively new and he's been on top for as long as he has. But he comes over here and although placing really highly, the third seed, does get taken out in the tournament. I mean, he was actually my pick to win, personally. And I'll eat my words very, very humbly, but what a fantastic display of gameplay from everyone at this tournament so far. And there is really only 2 sets left. This one to decide our second grand finalist and the grand finals themselves. We are at the higher end of this tournament where there is so much money to play for. Once again, for those of you that are just joining us, whoever wins this game will get a minimum of 3,000 euros, and the winner of the entire tournament takes home 10,000. Definitely the bigger end of this pot of a 15,000 pot, which has been supplied. Now very generously. Remember, you guys and girls at home, if you are enjoying what you are watching, Clash Royale is a free-to-play, free-to-download game. So get on your iOS or Android, get onto your store and give it a download. Free-to-play. It's a relatively new game in terms of competitive life. This is like really the first kind of event that Supercell have done like this. And these guys are so good already. What's up with that? Well, the thing is that's it. We went into this with 200 players, including a lot of recognizable and very talented faces in this game. And who have we got on our top 8? Primarily people from Finland, faces we do not recognize, people we don't know, but they are so good. And they've won themselves a tidy amount of euros. I think that's quite a nice thing about it. We have a lot of basically all the semi-finals, all Finnish players. It's the fact that there's a big comfort zone here, right? Like once again, this is a lot of these guys' first kind of tournament situation, but people have come from all over the world for this event. But a lot of these guys in Finland, I mean, it's their comfort zone and they're here to play. Great saying for these guys. Because I think we are about to get into our first game. We can see Hog Rider already deployed straight up to aggression. Oh, the minions, but I don't think, wow, the Hog Rider is going to do at least one hit, because right as the Hog Rider was spawned, we saw an elixir pump put down. So that was kind of like, wow, there we go. There's some more electricity to take out these minions. Bomb Tower is going to completely ignore those minions, though. Bear in mind, they are airborne units. The question is, it's a matter of being defensive once again. These guys, I mean, that's quite a popular play. It's just kind of sit pretty. One thing we can see Jason go for the elixir pump right there just to get that little bit of extra of a bonus, which will mainly help him later on once we reach the double time. But at this point, every little helps. Now here we go. Here's the Giant. This was kind of like the core of a lot of Jason's pushes, especially against Derek, which is the Hog Rider Giant combo. Just this big health. The Giant The Giant goes in first and soaks up all the damage, and the Hog Rider does all of the damage to the objective.
We've seen this already. I mean, that tried and tested combination of Giant and Hog Rider, Jason getting so much mileage out of it before. And again, we can look at his units. He has relatively inexpensive units. He has both sorts of Goblins. He has the Minions good to go. I mean, like, you know, Elfie, my mistake on the other end. These very, very cheap units, which you can basically constantly pump out. So at no point are you ever without any kind of troop unit that can help you stop some kind of push.
Speaking of which, the Hog Rider goes down. Does he have a building ready to distract it? I don't think he does. The Barbarians are going to try and stop, but the Hog Rider going to get one. Oh, just going to die before he gets the second one.
He was like milliseconds away from getting that extra hit. So it's quite evenly balanced right now. Here comes the Bomber again. I like the idea of going for a Bomber because we see a lot of people in this tournament go for the Barbarians, and the Bomber does a great job. Even the Bomber by himself outside of the tower.
But then you chuck a tower into the mix, going to take some serious damage from the Hog Rider, but Barbarians are going to keep him alive, will they? Yes, the Bomb Tower manages to live to fight another day. Oh, a big push going in. Barbarians and Goblins. Minions going to go through. The Goblins are going to take some of them out, but oh wow, and there's the electricity. 60 seconds left. Here we go. Here comes the double again, going straight in with the Giant, pushing straight past. The only thing that can do damage right now is those Spear Goblins that aren't going to do a huge chunk of damage by themselves. Good use of the arrows, going in with the push. This could be the tower, Mustard. This could be it. The Giant's going to punch it. 1, 3, 3, 7 life. No, it goes down. Goblins are going to keep him alive. The Barbarians are going to counter this, but just chipping the life away over and over again. The Hog Rider is good. Elfie manages to deploy it. Going to run straight past the Minions. Wow, the lightning does a lot of damage. And more importantly, stunning those Minions. That's going to be some free damage. But speaking of that, straight in with the counterattack, in with another Giant. Here comes the Bomb Tower just to try and get those single units by themselves. And once again, more importantly, distracting that Giant from taking out that tower, which is very weak at this point. Now, up until this point, Jason's been saving the Giant before it attacks. Is it going to survive? The arrows aren't doing much damage. Giant goes through. Great stun there. Might have saved a couple of things ahead, but that's going to go. 10 seconds. 8, 7, just in this situation. These Hog Riders going to try and go behind enemy lines. A fireball just to try and do some of that damage, but at this point does not matter. Now, really, really well played from Jason. And again, the Giant is what did it. Now Jason's just doing a terrific job of just keeping himself composed, because right then, if he didn't put those Barbarians down exactly where he did when he did it, the Hog Rider would have pushed through them, snuck past them, and then killed the tower. The fact that he managed to deploy early enough to body block the Hog Rider before he could get close enough to damage the tower is what saved that match for him.
Now, right now, no one really has actually had an answer for that Giant push. I mean,
like, see, Jason, favorite card, Giant, we're seeing why it's doing incredible amounts of work right now.
Well, he definitely picked his favorite card as the Giant for a reason, and what we're seeing right now is it put in so much work. I mean, we've seen so much Hog Riders, but now you've got Jason who takes the Hog Rider and pairs it with the Giant. I mean, that's not a particularly fun combo to deal with.
It's working though. I mean, we are seeing buildings in an attempt to distract it, but then you've got two amazing building destroyers in the Hog Rider and the Giant. If they're both part of a push, they are together going to annihilate any building they come into contact
with. Now, with this level of downtime, always brings a deck change. Always. I mean, when these guys, they don't opt to go straight back in, it's because that you have so much creativity. Once again, to remind you guys at home, these guys have been given the same cards that are a set level for balance. They all have access to the same stuff, so these guys will constantly try and switch around their decks to try and give themselves the best chance possible.
They all have the same cards at the same level, but it's up to them how they craft those cards into up to 3 decks that they can then take with them onto the stage.
Well, Jason's the only player in this top 8 that has favored the Giant as much as he has. You know, I mean, everyone has had the chance to use the Giant, but he is the only one that has chose to specialize with that and make it such a key part of every single push he goes for.
But it's basically just, you know, just comboing the cards and the units together. Yes, the Giant is doing a lot of work, but without the Hog Rider, it wouldn't be anywhere near as effective, and vice versa. It really is proving to be a good strategy. The question is, if he's doing it in, basically this is the same deck he used, I believe, I could be wrong, but the Giant Hog Rider combo is basically what he used against Derek. And if it wins him this set, are the Grand Finals going to be ready for that kind of combo? That's proving so effective so far.
It's a matter, I mean, these guys have been watching each other's games. There's always going to be a matter of preparation. I mean, these guys are free to take as many notes as they want leading into these matches. And as you can see right here, putting in a lot of thought into this next match. I mean, this is probably one of the longer breaks we've had, but it's because we are so far into this tournament and there is so much more to play for. I mean, Jason's been given a nice amount of comfort right now. He is 1 game up. He has to win 2 games. You know, Elfie has to win 3. He's still yet to make a scratch in this score bracket so far. So he has to really think about whether his deck is going to be the right choice for this situation.
So just for those of you watching at home, we are using a new observer mode in the game, a new spectator mode, which shows us what cards the players have used what they have deployed in that match, but we cannot see the cards they are yet to play or the cards that are in their hand. So we're there's a lot of speculation going on as to what we see they have, what they might have in their hand, what they've used, but we don't see them until they deploy them. So some players are keeping cards until the very last second.
We have seen a fair amount of people saving the rocket until the final minute. So I mean, you know, anything is possible at this point, especially with this such high level of play going on right now with both of these players.
But that's what excites me though. This is, without a doubt, amazing level of play for this game. The game is quite young, it's quite new, but being played like this already for Cash is really promising.
A lot of the best players in the world are here right now. You know, I mean, what example could you want? I mean, so many amazing players have been here to play, and once again, 200 people were here this evening. Fantastic turnout with just these guys left to play. Now, he's still thinking. I mean, this is a strong decision. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you potentially lose and go, should I have made this decision? Should I have gone with this card? Should I have gone for that deck?
But the problem is, if you change your deck and you counter-pick deck and then lose again, what have you got left? You've lost with 2 decks, multiple decks. Do you go to a third and then put yourself in a situation when you are locked to that deck for the rest of the set? Or do you stick with your guns and try and get it out?
Okay, so it looks like both these players are good to go. We're going to be switching the gameplay as soon as possible. Now, this has been a long break, so he's going to be thinking long and hard about the decision he's just made here. Straight into the cannon. Haven't seen that before.
So he's just going to put it down defensively right now just to keep himself safe, but Jason might just wait it out to lose some
don't
health.
know whether using that immediately was a fantastic idea. I mean, like, it's definitely an answer for the Giant, you know, to pump out damage to that Giant and the Inferno Tower. This is some hard countering towards the Giant. He does not want to deal with this push.
Really good stuff. The cannon's losing most of its health naturally. We see left the Barbarians go through. I do think the Barbarians, are they going to get destroyed or are they going to win this fight? It looks like the tower shooting them constantly, they are going to go down.
And the question is, as well, will the Inferno Tower reach from this range?
Oh, there's another cannon going in. Hog Rider's going to go straight for it. The question is, does the Hog Rider go for the Inferno Tower after this? Yes, he does, but the Inferno Tower's going to make short work of him.
Now, the immediate change that we can see Alfie's gone for is more defensive buildings that can just pump out damage.
But he's still low. He's still losing on tower health. That's the problem. And we can see Jason does have these elixir pumps just constantly giving him resources. Hog Rider goes through. Minions aren't going to stop him. He's going to get a couple of hits before he dies.
That was actually a really smart use of the lightning there. I mean, the Minion army is... They've all pretty much one hit from dead, so not going to do that much damage, if any, to that left-hand tower. So just getting that poke to try and put the momentum in his favor. I mean, there's only a mere few hit points separating both these... Well, right as I say that, they take more damage, but, you know,
the Giant is going to get him. But is that cannon too far to the left? But the Inferno Tower is going to block it. At the very least, Giant's going to go straight for the tower at least. Going to take some serious damage from it, though. Yeah, he is going to get absolutely mauled by the Inferno Tower.
Big damage on the Giant right there. But once again, I mean, we do find ourselves in a very, very kind of neutral situation. He's going to pop another one of those elixir pumps to just try and give himself the biggest benefit possible. I like the idea that he's used it right now because you have 5 seconds until his elixir will start doubling in speed, giving him bigger pushes and more units at a much faster rate. Here we go.
Hog Rider manages to sneak through, does another 2 hits. Basically, every 2 hits
is a big push.
Every 2 hits from the Hog Rider is taking about a quarter life away from the total tower's health. So getting that twice, it's already half dead. But this is such a huge push. The Barbarians go straight for the tower. The Giant is keeping the Inferno Tower busy, so the Barbarians get some nice damage down.
That was a good amount of poke, but in this situation, Jason's still on the back foot. I mean, he has got less tower health. Here comes the Hog Rider. He's going to completely ignore those minions, take a chunk of damage. Is he going to get 1 hit? No, he isn't. Tries to go in for the lightning just to go for that delay. Here comes the Giant push once again. We've seen it so many times before. Barbarians going in. This is going to be a big fight in the left lane.
But be careful now. We saw the Inferno Tower just went down. The question is, does LP have the buildings left? The Giants are just going straight past them, and they all die.
That could have been a game-changing arrow. Here we go.
That's it. The Fireball's not going to kill it. The Giant going to keep punching. Wow, 2 more hits. He's going to take the tower
He's
down.
not going to stop.
Here comes more of a base race going in. And anything that can stop it. The Giant's going to take the tower. And once again, just like that,
wow.
Hog Rider gets taken out.
And it looks very much like Jason is going to be taking another
Second Giant, just for good measure. Giants, man, they're doing it. They're putting in the work. The not-so-gentle Giant's going to take 2 games up in the set. I mean, that was after a deck swap as well. Jason is just sticking with his guns. Giant is Jason right now.
Well, the thing is, the deck change has been beneficial, but right there at the end where it did, almost at that point didn't matter. I mean, there's so much beef that was going in, because obviously let's not forget that it's not just a matter of having the fact that you've got a Giant there. You've also got Barbarians that can soak up extra damage.
And the Hog Rider.
Everyone's using this Hog Rider tonight, and it's putting in a lot of work.
it's just working so well for him, Jason. I actually think Jason's got one of my favorite ways of playing that we've seen all evening. It's kind of breaking the mold. I don't know how popular the Giant is on the actual game client. I know, like, sort of researching for this event, I haven't really seen it used too much leading into this tournament, but it's making such a big impact.
I think maybe that's one.
Oh, you have confetti landing on you.
Oh, do I?
It's yellow.
It's right in front of me. How about that? Now, it's also a level of, like, the fact that we haven't really seen loads of people opt to go for the Giant means that there's always the chance you could throw people off. I mean, he's been using it so much, and it's so crucial to his deck, but it's like you just said. Now, the thing we did see was Elfie take a lot of time. I mean, just like right now, where he's thinking about maybe switching out decks, and he said, what happens if he takes all this time to switch his deck out, but then he loses again? What do you do? And then in this situation,
if that happens this time, the set's over.
Now, this is the dangerous situation because he has already attempted. He's already attempted to go for a deck switch to deal with this Giant, and it didn't work in game 2 either. So this is a stressful situation to be in for Elfie right now, no doubt about it.
Okay, so they're both waiting for some elixir to build up. Remember, you do have a finite amount of resources to deploy. Big push coming in from Elfie, Barbarians, and the Hog Rider. Lightning is good on the minions, but they're going to survive.
That was actually a very crucial Lightning going straight past both those, just like that. Big damage on the tower. If he can keep that push going, he's going to be in a great situation. But here comes the counter-attack. I mean, that was an expensive push, but he is going to save the bomb tower. I like the idea of using the bomb tower because it's a distraction, but because he attacks an AoE, big splash damage to handle these troop pushes that he's been going for.
What do you think happened there, though? Because Jason kind of just didn't defend. He put some minions down, but nothing more. Do you think he thought that was enough?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. The Giant is going to take that tower out, but not before the Barbarians make short work of him. Here comes the troop push that we see so many times.
Barbarians on Goblins, on Spear Goblins. Literally a mirror match in the lane right now, but we see the tower's not close enough to damage them either. Barbarians didn't take that much damage. They are going to get a little bit closer. Question is, does the tower take any poke here?
Fight's definitely going to do a good job of just stalling the match. And he gets a couple of spears. I mean, that might add up by the end of the game.
And the Hog Rider's good. Question is, does Jason have anything to defend? The minions, they didn't do it enough last time. Is this tower gone? Oh, no, just in time. They did manage to move on.
We see that quite a lot where, I mean, it's almost like his reactions have been quite late with that minion army, where he sees the Hog Rider, but almost puts it too late, to the point where the Hog Rider's already ran straight past them.
But you're always micromanaging your elixir, so maybe it's a question of, if I wait a couple more blocks, I'll be able to deploy this after, but if he waits too long, then his tower takes damage. He's down 660 health right now on his left tower. That's quite a dangerous situation to be in, especially when you're 2 games up. You don't want that momentum to go out of your favor.
Back at this neutral situation, but once again the bomb. I mean, that's one of the extra elements of the Hog Rider that you can kind of outrun those bombs. And here comes a big push, 60 seconds left. This is where things are going to double. This is the dangerous point again for Elf.
Also, can we talk about how when it's Hog Rider and Giant, they're completely separate, but the Giant goes in first to take the aggro. When it's Barbarians and Giant, the Giant is always placed inside the Barbarian.
Very unfortunate placement though, because the Giant went completely past both those units, and he's going to be sitting really pretty right now. Is the Giant going to be able to solo this tower?
There is no way he's going to go down before that will do it. The Goblins aren't going to be enough to stop him. He is just marching on. 30
seconds to play defensive. And if you can defend that tower damage for 30 seconds, he's going to move on into Grand Finals.
That was all down to perfect minion placement. He managed to put the Barbarians around the Giant. So the Giant was just walking with a wall of Barbarian units around him.
That's just positioning, and that's high-level placement that you will only see at this level of the game.
This might be game. 10 seconds left. I don't think that's enough. This could be it. The Giant's going to go in. The Giant's taking all the aggro from the Goblins.
So smart, deploying it so that the Hog Rider has no follow-up. Running in, going for the Giant. He's going to take all of that damage.
Another 3-0. Jason is officially the most dominant player going into Grand Finals. Has not dropped a single match on his way. Not one match has this individual lost.
And let's not forget that Jason took out Derek as well. This guy has been on a tear this evening.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Guaranteeing himself 3,000 euros. Commiserations to Elfie. Managed to make his way to 4th today, where he's going to walk away with 1,000 euros. So not walking away empty-handed. But that does leave us with Steroidy and Jason as your 2 finalists.
This has been kind of insane. I mean, very rarely, I mean, every time we've seen people play so far, it's been they have a set deck which has been countered. Whereas in this situation, Elfie, he tried so hard to counter that Giant deck.
Jason's deck is just not able to be countered right now. He is just managing to keep himself together with one deck. One deck survived multiple from Derek. One deck survived multiple from Elfie. This guy is unstoppable right now.
Didn't Jason say in his very first interview, I kind of just have my way of playing, and he's basically said, I've got my way of playing, and I'm just going to do that.
I don't really
Yeah,
have
it's
counters.
working.
He said basically like, I don't really have like much counters good to go. I'm just going to kind of go there and do my thing. He's gone in and strolled in and done his thing, and has strolled all the way into grand finals with his thing. So he's definitely doing something right. I mean, great situation to be in. It's absolutely dominant performance, but that's what I like to see. My favorite thing about today by far has been the unpredictability and the diversity in the decks and the cards we're seeing played. It just does a really good job of just showing exactly what Clash Royale is all about, which is like having a strategic mind, using things at the right time, knowing what cards are available, knowing what counters what, how much elixir it all costs. There's a little bit more going on than you might think, but the game at its core is a very simple concept. I think what I really like though is the level of customization, because again, these guys have had access to the same cards. It's about decks that make them feel comfortable, and clearly this giant deck does make Jason feel very comfortable. Speaking of Jason, we do have an interview lined up before he goes into grand final, so take it away, Sean.
Thank you so much, guys. Wow. From a game that went all the way down to the wire to what can only be described as a 3-0. Jason, congratulations.
Thank you. Feels amazing.
Jason. Come on, guys. This is Jason. Jason, you said from the start that you want to play your way, your deck, the way you like it, and it seems to be working. What's really working for you here?
It's probably just the experience with the deck, and that's it probably.
How many games was it with this deck?
Couple thousand.
Couple thousand with this deck. There you go, pro tip number one. Couple thousand games with your deck, you'll be getting there. You are now a finalist. You are guaranteed to go home with a minimum of 3,000 euros, but you of course have a chance to take home that 10,000. Is that something that's in your mind right now?
At this point, I don't really care who wins. Would be nice if I win, but I don't care.
Are you having fun?
I'm having fun.
Now, of course, there were 200 hopefuls that came in here today. Come step up for 1 second, sir. Or stay. That's fine. I was just gonna, come on, be careful over here on the thing. Yeah. Very quickly, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm disappointed for sure, but he was better, so what can you do? That giant!
Round of applause, come on guys. I'm gonna let you go back, of course. Jason, 200 hopefuls entered in. You're now in the final two. Is that something you imagined when you woke up this morning?
No, not at all.
So what's going to be the game plan now going in, knowing that you're up against Steroidy 69?
I don't think I'm going to reveal my game plan for this.
Don't reveal the game plan. Keep it secret.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. From 5 matches, ladies and gentlemen, down to just 3, needing to find our ultimate 2 finalists, and we have them. Let's take a look at how they got here today. As you can see, the bracket's up there. Through all things, I can't actually see it, but I can tell you that there were upsets across the board, and from taking the 4 Finns that came in to the semi-finals, we now know who our finalists are. Steroidy versus Jason. I'm sure you have some favorites. I'm sure everybody here has some favorites. Are you guys ready for this final? Yeah. Come on, guys. Are you ready for this final? They are definitely ready for this final here. I know the players are getting ready, which means you go ahead and get ready, because we are going to take a very short break. We're going to come right back with all the action that you're looking for in the Clash Royale world. Stay tuned. Coming right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament 2016. $200 entered, we're down to just 2, which can mean only one thing. It's grand final time! A round of applause for this amazing set, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 finalists that have done everything to get here today. They've battled their way through, they've bested 198 other hopefuls when they entered this building. So, without further ado, I'd like for you to all make some serious noise, show some serious appreciation. On his way, he's taken out Ash from Boston and Nazim from Turku. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for Steroidy 69. Steroidy, you have been a talked about player from this tournament from the start. You're now here in the finals. One more, best of 5, 3 wins, and you're there. 10,000. How are you thinking about that?
Yeah.
Man, a few words, I like that. Now, let's be honest, your opponent has done some pretty fantastic work here today as well. Are you thinking about particularly how to take him out?
Well, yeah, I can. What the hell? Well, I made special deck for him, and we'll see.
A special deck just for that man. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet our second finalist tonight. On the road here, took out none other than Derek from Hong Kong and Afia, who was also knocked by his deck that he's been using now for some 2,000 games. Please, show your love, make some noise, raise the roof. It's Jason! Jason, here you are. You've been humble throughout, just saying, I'm gonna play my game, play my deck. You're in the final. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He is ready. Anything you want to say?
It's nice that we're playing a legendary arena, so he gets there for the first time.
Legendary arenas. Round of applause for both of our finalists. Guys, I'm going to step back here. I'm going to ask you to shake hands. This is the grand final. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, show your love for our 2 finalists. Come on, guys, show some love. I know you can do better. 1, 2, 3, show some love. That's the level we need to be throughout this entire final. It's time. It's about to go down. We're going to find out who we're crowning our champion. Over to you, boys.
Thank you very much, Sean. Grand finals time here for the Clash Royale Tournament in Helsinki for 2016, as we have our 2 grand finalists. They've both had an interesting way of being able to get here. Obviously, we've seen Steroidy with his mortar, and I was thinking to myself, a special deck? Is he gonna mortar and then mirror, and so he has 2 mortars?
Well, so his special deck is just 2 mortars?
I guess so, but probably not. Probably not. But overall, what we've seen from Jason so far is good iteration on the deck that he says he's played almost thousands of games on. So he has so much comfort there.
That's the thing, it's all about the comfort pick, and I want to just remind you guys, when he came in, he basically goes, oh, we're going straight in as well.
Oh, wow.
So this guy basically came up and said, I've got my deck, and I'm not really going to differ from it.
All right, it's time for the grand finals here. Best of 5 in terms of first of 3 games, as we already have the Tesla down to start things off for Steroidy to open up this.
Now, we always go immediately in for the Tesla Tower right there, and again, immediately into the Giant. Is this foreshadowing for the rest of the set?
This is exactly what we saw already. He puts the Barbarians in front so that the Inferno Tower can't focus down onto the Giant. We saw that in Game 2 of his semi-final. It was very important, and look, you can already see the Giant getting much further than it would against the normal Infernal Tower.
It's just very unfortunate right there that although he actually had a lot of follow-up, there was just really too much damage being pumped out there. So we're back at this stalemate situation. But in this exchange, these guys gave away a lot of their cards.
And the thing is that as much as this is very powerful, there we have 2 Elixir Collectors on the side of Jason, now one on the side of Steroidy as well. But still, because Jason put his down earlier on, he will gain a little bit of an advantage over Steroidy later on for that.
Gonna completely ignore that tower, get a nice couple of hits. That's about 1-2. I think he may have just got away with that extra hit.
Oh my days, so much damage! There goes one of the towers.
Brilliant stuff there. The Minion Horde following up there with that Hog Rider. Now the mortar's down, but does he have defense for it? Giant has been thrown down on his side of the map.
Just put on there, just out of nowhere, and the Inferno Tower, unfortunately put too far away.
Steroidy's distraught, and he's not able to deal with it. He must have misclicked during all of that, and this game number 1 is a disaster for him. Jason is well on the way here to being able to grab this, and the second tower falls.
Just like that, we're not even at 1 minute left on the clock, and he's lost 2 towers. His King Tower is taking big damage as well, and it could only ever get worse. We have 60 seconds left. The Elixir is going to double. The crowd is chanting Jason's name. Everybody wants this guy to win.
The pressure is getting to Steroidy with that misclick there, and he's just going to fire that. He knows he's done in this game. He absolutely knows he's done.
That's that's definitely, I mean, that is a wrap right there. This has been such a dominant game 1, and this could potentially be foreshadowing for the rest of the set.
This is where Steroidy has to gain composure. Even the offensive Elixir connector up there, that is 1-0 in favor of Jason to start things off. And look at the way he did that. So strongly, so strongly. Of course, there was a little bit of a misclick on that Inferno Tower, I would assume, from that positioning.
It missed by just pixels. I mean, he definitely was trying to take that out, but I don't know. I think that one mistake, at this point in the tournament, one mistake can cost you so much.
You could see his reaction, and now Jason, once again, I mean, he hasn't dropped a map, right, so far through this.
He has dominated from start to finish. Again, just to remind people, this guy took out Derek as well, who is like the strongest player on the leaderboards all the time, so consistently. And he just turns up and wins as convincingly as he is.
All right, well, we're getting into game number 2 here. Just a moment as Jason leads 1-0 in this. First of 3 wins. Goblin Spearman thrown down on the left. Pekka already starting things off here for Steroidy. So the switch up of the deck, as he is allowed to after losing.
He's definitely going to want to make his units there go blow for blow this time. So I think the instant switch into the Pekka, and that was an expensive way to start as well, but not really going to phase him at all. And here comes the trade. Hog Riders goes in for a bit of defense. They're going to do a good bit of damage. He is going to trade a couple of tower hits. That's quite significant this early on.
Followed up by Princess behind that, and that's actually a really good choice. I was expecting Minion Horde to come out to try and deal with the Pekka, but that's a great response to it.
Good freeze! Here we go! And he's opting to go for the Barbarians instead of the tower though, so although he did get the freeze, that did save a lot of tower damage on the side of Jason.
Yeah, the Barbarians being placed down there will always interrupt that focus fire from it. Now Tesla should be able to pick off the majority of this, so that's all fine. But again, behind this, Jason is racking up his Elixir. He now has double Elixir Collectors. So the longer this game goes on, the better shape he is going to be in against Steroidy.
So we see another Pekka go straight in there. Now the question is, what's the follow-up? I like the patience, waiting for the Pekka on one side and going in for the Giant on the other to force him to spend the Elixir to defend that left side rather than put everything towards the attack.
Arsh is behind that. Goblins are going to clean that up very nicely.
Oh no!
But now there's nothing actually to clean up the Giant with the arrows being able to fend that off. And he's committing to the Pekka as well.
Now that's the thing, that's exactly why Jason put the Giant down in that situation, to force Steroidy to go in, but he didn't bite.
But that's the thing, yeah, with the Giant, there wasn't even that much commitment behind it. Just archers? That's only 3 Elixir when you've got all that Elixir collection. It's so, and he has the response to defend as well.
Oh, and he's going in, that could be a tower trade just like that!
Nice.
He needed that more than he's needed any play in the past. Yep. We are getting showered in confetti right now.
Yeah, that is a lot of confetti. Oh my god. But for now, this Tesla isn't really going to hold on for too long. Look, he's seen once again the Giant and the Hog Rider follow up with the amount of damage behind it. This is going to take down this tower. What response does he have? He tries to go for the 3 Musketeers. A little bit of a change up in this deck, but it's not quick enough here.
I don't know. I think that the Three Musketeers, that's going to slightly help him. But what does he do now? He's got 35 seconds to get something on the go. Otherwise, he's going to be 2 games down.
All right, so the Three Musketeers will be able to clean up a little bit of that. The Giant will go very quickly, but the Barbarians will put in front to try and tank as much as possible. Didn't do too much, though.
The Pekka's on the right-hand side, though. I don't think I agree with that decision. He had to go on the left and pressure that tower. Otherwise, he's going to lose the game, and he opts to go right instead.
Yeah, that's going right is do or die. I mean, he has to go all the way to the main tower, but I'm not even sure he's even going to be able to get there. Giant goes down, that buys the time here. Jason is not going to lose that tower to the left. He is going to be able to go up 2-0 in this best of 5, and he is 1 game away from claiming first prize here in Helsinki.
And you could say these are the most dominant games we have had so far. I mean, just complete and utter destruction going on right now. And it's the fact that this Giant is serving so many different purposes. Initially, it's helping him push the lane out. It's helping him tank. He's taking towers. But then when he can afford to be defensive, the Giant just soaks up damage and distracts the enemy units so he can't get a push on the go.
I mean, I joked about, you know, what Steroid he might have brought to the table in terms of his special deck that he'd prepared for this. And that must have been at least one of them if he's prepared a second one potentially. But getting the Three Musketeers in there, it looked like he never really had any momentum to throw those in and allow them to do the work that they can potentially do. It's a very costly investment, is the Three Musketeers.
I mean, that's 9 elixir, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot to spend. These guys waste no time, and they go straight back. This could be our final game of this Clash Royale Tournament 2016 Helsinki.
Jason opening up with archers to start. Minion Horde going to be a response as you see the elixirs going down already. Once again, Jason is just opening up the taps a little bit so that he can get those elixir collectors up and running.
He's going to get a little bit of damage right there, might get a couple of hits. Oh no, that was a big mistake!
The freeze all the way to the bottom corner. That might cost him. That is a big investment for not getting anything out of that aggressive push.
How does he stop the push besides Fireball? So much damage. He's not going to be happy with that mistake. We talked about this earlier. The misclicks with this tournament setting.
He might be done.
Oh no.
The zap to try and stun them, but it's not enough at all. Steroidy is reeling from this. At this levels, a Fireball is not going to one-shot those Barbarians. So you need the Arch Tower to hit them and finish them off, but with the Giant there, it doesn't work.
That could have been the mistake of the tournament because, I mean, he has to try and get something going, but the King Tower so weak, and this point, such a misclick.
And now, all importantly, he can spawn on his side of the river as well. This is going to be an effort here by Steroidy to try and gain some momentum on the left-hand side. Hog Rider, as well as the Barbarians trying to push in, but the Giant, well, he's got the minions behind this, and I don't know if he has much to commit to it.
Oh no, speaking of commitment, this is another big push. Gonna go in, that's not gonna do loads of damage. Here come the Spear Goblins to try and mop up that second tower.
Jason has just crafted this deck so well, and he knows every single response. He takes it down, and he's gonna take down the third tower as well. There's nothing left. The arrows come in, and that is that.
What an amazing way to finish this tournament.
Jason is crowned the champion here in Helsinki. What a way, what dominance here for Clash Royale.
Jason has been a force to be reckoned with non-stop since the very beginning, and what a play to finish this tournament by taking all 3 towers. No timeouts here.
What a way.
Fantastic tournament. We're going to go over to Sean, who's going to wrap this tournament up.
Out here. Wow. Jason, it is safe to say that you did that with some authority.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
Guys, please, can I get a round of applause for your champion? Jason, you've played fantastically throughout. You now do have 10,000 euros coming your way. How does that make you feel?
Really good, especially after defeating Morgan.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you to follow me over here. We're going to come over here. Of course, we're going to have a little handshake. Guys, I'm going to jump out of the way. Please, first off, shake hands. Guys, please put your hands together for Steroidy69. He played fantastically throughout. And not a bad job. You're taking home 3,000. Better. That's not bad for an afternoon, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. I'm going to ask right now my good friend Alexander from Supercell to join me up here on stage. Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Alexander. Alexander, you've been watching throughout. what's this been like for you? I mean, I can imagine it's a culmination of a long time. Come in a little bit closer. Come on. Everybody together. It's been a culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, but you see it now. Great matches, good energy, good environment. What's it been like for you?
Amazing, simply awesome. There's been so many people involved, so much hard work. Thanks for everybody involved, and thanks for this amazing audience. It's been so great. Thank you.
You guys have been fantastic throughout. I really want to say that your energy has been killer. Come on, guys. One more time. Make some serious noise for your new champion, Jason. Jason, I have to ask, you see these people, you played against most of these people today. They were your 200 competitors just a couple of hours ago. What is it like to now stand as the last man standing?
It's just really amazing to hear them cheer for me here.
Let's do it one more time for Jason. Alex, I am going to ask you, you do have something over there. If you take that, I will ask you to do the honors. Sorry, come over here. Stand back here. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion. One more time, your champion. Organized chaos. Okay, Alex, I have to say it's been a fantastic show throughout. Final thoughts, sir?
It's amazing. I don't know. It's just the only thing in my mind is you gotta play the elixir pump. That's all I know.
Play the elixir pump. Guys, on behalf of everybody watching, everybody at home, everybody here, everybody from Supercell, everybody from ESL, everybody from the Angel Studios, it's been such a pleasure being part of this. So we want to say, first off, thank you so much for watching, for making the Clash Royale Helsinki Tournament 2016 so incredibly memorable. And of course, before we sign off, once again, Jason, the man, the myth, the legend. Alex, final thoughts, send us home.
Thank you. Have a good night. Enjoy Finland.
Enjoy Finland. Kiitos. Thank you very much.